What's up, Brandon?
What's going on, man?
How's it going?
Good. What have you been up to?
Nothing. Work and this. It's my life in a nutshell.
Me as well.
Yeah.
Less of this,
Less of this?
more of work.
Yeah, that's.
feel
What are
that.
you doing these days?
Still the same thing, working at a medical lab. That's what pays the bills.
Oh, wow.
Keeps the lights on.
Yeah, barely. In this area.
Yeah, this area
Yeah.
for
Yeah,
sure.
So, yeah, just medical work.
How long you been doing that for?
Almost 15 years now, man.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. I just kind of fell into it. Found out we were having a kid, and I was working in a blues bar
Yo.
in Anchorage, Alaska.
Yeah,
No,
that's
what?
right.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, working soundboard for the bands, working the door, working in the kitchen, bar
Wherever they
back,
needed
whatever
you.
they needed, yeah. I was like, well, this isn't going to get it done. And I was already a licensed piercer for a long time before I moved up there, and I was like, shit, just fucking poking people with needles, I can do that. So went to school, did that, and kind of got stuck, and now I hate it.
Yeah.
So
Well,
Yeah.
I'm looking for something else eventually. I don't know, man. My wife's in school right now for computer sciences.
Mhm.
That's why we're still down in this area, really. We came down for family stuff, and probably will head back west soon.
Yeah.
She's from the Portland area, and we love it there.
Mm.
so,
That's the
yeah,
best.
yeah.
Not back to Anchorage.
No.
I always said if I was gonna move anywhere, it'd be up in that northwest area,
Yeah,
Washington,
man. Oh, man, I love
Oregon,
it. Yeah.
somewhere up there,
The
man.
Pacific Northwest is, I don't know, it's what I like.
Yeah, it's the
Okay.
jam.
I don't think I've ever been up there before.
Man, it's legit. I love it.
The culture up there is real rad, and the most beautiful
Yeah.
scenery you'll
Really?
ever see.
Yeah,
Okay.
so pretty.
Yeah.
It's really laid back.
Right.
What took you up to Anchorage in the first place?
My ex-wife, she grew up there as a kid. Her parents were living up there, and we were just kind of sick of it here. And
Anchorage.
fuck, man,
Hey, you
it's an
want to get out of
adventure, right?
Arkansas?
Yeah.
Anchorage is the
I
fucking
was
place.
like, fuck this place. Let's.
Yeah.
Damn,
So we went, and yeah,
man.
Is it
it was.
Was
well-
it cold there? Or?
Yeah.
It gets a little cool. Yeah. We.
nippy?
Yeah.
Nippy.
Yeah. I don't know, man. It's a weird place. It's like everybody told me you either love it or you hate it. There's no gray area.
How'd you feel?
I loved it. I love the winter. I love the cold.
Oh,
I love the
I see,
snow.
I see.
So yeah, I thought it was pretty legit, but we kind of got out at the right time. We were the big holdout up there, like economy wise, for the
Mhm.
longest time. Like you see the news and it's like shit down here, which it's still not great, but it has bounced
Right.
back a little bit, you know.
Mhm.
But like up there, we didn't worry about anything other than everything cost a whole hell of a lot more.
I'm sure. Yeah,
But,
you gotta get it up there somehow, right?
Yeah, right after we left, the bottom fell out of it up there, and just like
Jeez.
I like a handful of people that I know they're still up there. All my closest friends have left,
Man.
and are scattered up and down the west coast, California, Seattle. But I don't think we'll go back. But it's definitely a place I recommend everybody visits. But you have to go twice. You have to go in the dead of summer, and then you have to go in the dead of winter because it's two completely different beasts.
What's the temperature like in the dead of summer? Like, is it kind of like fall weather here, or?
Yeah, kind of like mid 70s.
Ooh.
There were a few times it got pretty warm. I guess this summer they were up in the 90s and everybody was dying because nowhere has air conditioning.
Right.
Like
Oh,
your
really?
house doesn't have an
Fuck.
AC unit. You've got baseboard heat,
Yeah.
no AC. And there were a couple summers where I went and bought a window unit and put in
Man.
because it was brutal
Yeah.
for us. I mean, with no AC, you're catching 80 degrees. That's going to get warm in your house,
Mhm,
especially if
mhm.
you're trying to cook or something.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's only gonna get
absolutely.
warmer.
People
again.
moving around, but it was fun. I liked it.
Is
I definitely wouldn't go back though.
is
Not for
Anchorage north enough that you get that like weird time thing where like you get way too much sunlight and then way not enough?
Yeah, so like in the summer, on the solstice, which is like what, the 21st of June or July,
Yeah,
one or the other.
something like that.
Yeah.
Sometime in the summer.
Sometime in the summer when you're getting the most amount of daylight, like you'll go into the bar to play a show, have a drink, whatever, and you lose track of time, and you come out, and the sun's still up, and you look, and it's like, holy shit, it's 3 o'clock in the morning.
Jesus.
So the sun just kind of dips.
Mm. It's like a casino
Yeah,
in
it gets-
Alaska,
yeah.
always.
They
Yeah.
don't have casinos up there, that's for sure.
Really?
Because no.
Oh, wow.
It would be bad.
Yeah.
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 Too much data.
Yeah.
Imagine that.
Yeah.
But yeah, and then in the winter, it's kind of like the sun will come out at like 9:30, 10:30 in the morning, and then it's right back down by about like 3:30 or 4:30.
Wow.
That's crazy.
On the
Man.
shortest days, but there's so much snow that it's still lit up. Like,
Mm-hmm.
get out and do stuff.
It's very
Uh,
reflective.
Pond hockey is big up there. Like,
Oh.
you see the schools here have like basketball courts outside.
Mm-hmm.
Up there, they have basketball courts, but they're all boarded in. So in the winter, we just switched from basketball to hockey. And you're out playing pond hockey at like 2 in the morning, with just like
Jeez.
natural light. It's pretty rad.
That's pretty
That
cool.
sounds pretty sick,
It was fun.
actually.
Yeah,
Pretty crazy.
yeah, it was fun. But I think we'll definitely probably try and go back to like maybe the Portland area.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's where we like it the most. That's where me and you met the first time.
It is. Yeah.
Oddly enough, that's
Oh,
kind of a
really?
weird thing. Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
While you were on Warped Tour of all things.
What?
Yeah, we fell into that.
Yeah.
It was a weird situation.
How take us to the beginning.
Oh, the beginning. So I responded to a Craigslist ad. Somebody looking for a punk rock guitar player. And I really wasn't doing anything, so I thought, I'll check it out, because I was just looking for people to play music with. At the time, I really didn't know a lot of people up there, just people that I kind of worked with and met through other people or met at the bar. So I just happened to see this ad. I think I was actually looking to buy a new guitar and saw this ad, so I responded to it. This dude named Johnny, and he wrote me back, and he was like, yeah, man, sounds good. I want you to kind of audition for it. I guess he was playing guitar and doing vocals, and then he had a drummer and a bass player already lined up. He was just looking for a second guitar. So he said, learn this song, which was, I think, Stupid Girl by Screeching Weasel. So I was like, okay, I already kind of knew that song. So I sent him an email back, and I was like, all right, dude, I'm good. I got that. And I was like, when do you want to meet up? And he was like, well, learn this song. And he sent me this, like, weird track made in GarageBand. It was one that he had written. So I listened, played it through, real simple. I mean, we're playing, like, skate punk, 3-4 chords tops, you
Yeah,
know,
yeah.
fast,
How
loud.
difficult? Yeah.
Yeah, so I was like, all right, so I got that down. This is all the same day. It's like, all right, man, I got it. When do you want to get together? Because I was like bored as shit looking for something to do
Yeah.
and play music. So he's like, all right, we set a date and went over to his apartment with just like this shitty little practice amp that I had, which is all I had at the time. And we played a couple songs and just kind of jammed and felt each other out. And he was like, all right, man, sounds good, you're in. Let's have a full band practice. So we got with the other guys and we had a few songs that he had written and then a couple covers. And we just meshed really well. And we just did several practices, 2 or 3 hours at a time, until we had a nice 30-minute set. And we played one show, which it went all right, but I got like really sick
Ooh.
the night before we were supposed to play our first show. So first show's on a Saturday. Friday, I was sick. I was bad sick. It
Like
was,
virus sick?
like it was explosive diarrhea.
Oh,
Yeah, okay.
Bad
fuck.
And it'd been going on for a couple days, and finally my ex-wife, my wife at the time, she's like, you've got to go to the hospital, because I was like bad.
Ugh.
So I go into the hospital, to the emergency room. It's late at night, and they keep me there until like 5 or 6 in the morning, like pumping me full of fluids, 2 bags of fluids. They made me shit in a bucket so they could test it, like to see
man.
what was going on. Like they
Damn.
had no idea. So I was there until 6. I went home for a couple hours and slept, and then got up, and we went and played that show, and I was like terrified. of having this
Like-
Gigi Allen moment.
Like
Yeah.
shitting your pants on
Yeah,
stage.
like how bad would it be? I was like, I'll never play another show if I like shit my pants up here.
Yeah.
Well,
You go
there's
down
two
in Warped
options.
Tour
Yeah, there's
history.
two options. You either run in shame or you just embrace it. Like I said, Gigi Allen. and
Yeah.
like
It's punk rock,
yeah,
right?
It was bad.
I just shit my pants.
Yeah. So.
Whoa.
So I'm like not moving on stage at all. Somewhere, goddamn, on YouTube, there's probably video of that show, and we went to play Stupid Girl, and it starts out with this weird little lead riff, and I was playing that, and I was in the wrong key, like
Oh yeah.
by like probably at least 1 or 2 octaves. I was like way up, and it was bad. And John's turning around, he's like pointing, and I was just like, "Fuck, this is horrible." And that's like the first song.
Mm.
It's like, this is bad. There's like all these people there, and fortunately that passed, like the embarrassment, and I was like, oh fuck, I got it, pick back up. So we finished the song, and John, being punk rock, he's like, yeah, sorry about that, this dude's had diarrhea for like 2 weeks. So it's like,
Hey
well.
man.
And then so that was our first show, and then our second show was straight into Battle of the Bands to go on Warped Tour.
Oh nice.
And yeah, we did good. We nailed it. There's a big time, well, for the area, the promoter that was one of the judges of the show. They call her the Queen of Metal, Sarah P. She's awesome. She had her own little production company up in Anchorage. And she's big into metal and shit, so we really weren't sure how we were going to go over because Anchorage is kind of metal heavy.
Mm-hmm.
And she was like, no, it was weird. They did like this American Idol style where you like come out and you do your 3 songs or whatever, and then it's like Judgment.
Like all right
yeah,
there. at
right
once?
there. Like as soon as you're done, you haven't even loaded out, and they're
Jesus
like, so
Christ.
this is how it is.
What?
And
Wow.
all 3 of them, and they put us through. We ended up getting pretty far, but we didn't actually win. It was weird because Kevin Lyman, the founder of Warped Tour, he comes up to judge the last round. He's done this for several years there in Anchorage. He comes up to judge, and I don't know, like, if he just got, like, way drunk or, like, what was going on, but he just decided that all these bands are going to come down and play on Warped Tour, and he's going to set up an Alaska stage.
Jesus
So we were
Christ.
like,
That's so sweet.
well, that's pretty rad, but, you know, we didn't even make it to that final round. We kind of got bumped out a little bit ahead of that for some of those more metal bands.
Mhm.
So we were like, no big deal. It was fun, whatever. And then we get a call from the guy that put all this on, and he was like, hey, there's this meeting. We want you guys to show up. We're going to talk about this whole Warped Tour thing. So he really liked us. They had room. They were taking, I think, like 9 or 10 bands down.
Mhm.
And so we got a spot, so we got to come down. The winner, quote unquote, of this competition was getting, the all expenses paid trip from Alaska down to Seattle to Portland and then back up. And something like 20 shirts or something, to like
Yeah.
to have for merch or whatever. So we didn't get that. We had to pay our own way down.
Damn.
And airfare from or to Alaska, regardless of where you're going, is outrageous. And there's
Sure.
4 of us, and all of our guitars.
Man, I didn't even think about that.
Yeah,
All that
so
gear.
so it was a little bit intense. But our bass player at the time, this cat named Grant, he apparently had like 1 million air miles that he had saved up for
Huh.
whatever reason. So he's like, I don't really want to deal with it, but I'll give you the numbers. And he put me on the phone because we couldn't even like do it online because we're like all these people and we're flying into Seattle, but then we're flying out of Portland and we're all leaving Portland at different times and we have to get a rental car and all this shit. So I got on the phone with this lady and explained everything and she's like, oh, okay. And she got us fixed up, so we ended up like basically not paying anything to fly down. We just had to pay for the rental car.
Damn.
Nice.
That's
So
nice.
that worked out because I mean we really didn't have the money at the time. It's like they were like, you can go to Warped Tour, you just have to pay for it. And we're like, okay, cool. How are we gonna do that? So we actually played a couple shows to like raise money. Like hey, send us a Warped Tour.
Oh, that's cool.
So like weird, like middle of the week, like Wednesday night.
Mhm.
Yeah, I'm sure that went over great.
Yeah, nobody's there. Like, we all have to work in the morning, man. Fuck you guys.
Yeah.
Figure it out yourself. But yeah, it worked out. So we got to go down and do that. And my wife's gonna be pissed I tell the story. So I was telling it the other day, and she gets mad at me. So we met through a friend that I went to school with. She had went to school with, and it was just like one of those weird things, like talking back and forth, commenting on like Facebook statuses.
Yeah.
Like we're not even friends on Facebook. We're just like commenting on our mutual friends, and we just kind of got to talking, and we both thought that we were each the most hilarious person we ever talked to for whatever reason, and making the same shitty jokes on the Facebook, and so I was like, hey, turns out I'm getting to come down to Portland, and, you know, we're playing a couple shows, and we won that little thing, and she's like, sweet. I was like, you know, we're kind of poor and broke and just a punk rock band and struggling. Do you think that maybe we could crash at your place while we're in Portland? And she was like, fuck yeah. Sweet.
That's awesome.
I was like, hey guys, I got this figured out. We're going to crash at this girl's house that I've never met before. And she's like, all right. So we fly down. We are in Seattle. We get there the day before. We rent our car. We get a hotel room like real close to the venue. And we get up early. We're out there all fucking day because we have to be there like before everything goes on. You know, you get a 30-minute set. There's like, 8 stages or whatever.
Yeah.
So we have to get there and get ready because you never know. And it's kind of the weird thing. None of the bands, not even like the big headline bands, know when they're going to play until that morning.
Damn.
And they decide, and they've got that big inflatable board.
Yep.
And the guy just writes the name of the band on what stage and what time. So we get there, and when we left, this is like the first week of August, I guess. When we left Anchorage, it was like 45 degrees and raining and disgusting. That's the other thing about Anchorage all summer long. It's rain. Way more rain than sun. So
That's
45 degrees, raining. We get to Seattle. It's night. We go straight to the hotel, load all of our guitars into the hotel room so we're not leaving them in the car. And we get up the next day and get out there, and the sun's just like insane. It's like the hottest day they've had all year. It's like 105 degrees. It's abnormally hot. We're
Yeah.
fucking dying. Like, we are not used to this. So we get up there, we play our set. It goes great. We hang out. We go to catering. We're doing all the shit, that like we never get to do, like when we play gigs. Like, this is a big thing. They give us meal tickets, and
Nice.
all the bands are like hanging out like in the little areas. We got our little VIP passes, and we're like, it was like on Wayne's World. When they're like walking through, we're like holding them up to everybody, like, okay, we're coming in. We're part of a band.
Look at us.
Yeah. So we hang out. It's like the very end of the tour. So it's Seattle that day, and then the next day's Portland, and then it's over. That's it. We
Yeah.
got to play those 2 shows. So we decided to hang out for the after party for a little while and like mingle and drink and party, and everybody's having a great time, and all these bands are there, and like the cruise. That shit is an intense production to take that big of a tour across the country, man.
Mhm.
That's a lot.
So there's a lot of people behind the scenes, and it was pretty sweet. They were all really cool. They've been doing this for years. People were giving us pointers, and this was really cool. So then we leave out of there, and we're driving down to Portland, which is about 3 hours. And I start calling Tessa. Hey, voicemail. Hey, we're leaving Seattle right now, so I need you to get a hold of me. I need your address, And I never hear anything back from her. I was like, fuck, man. So I'm calling, and I just can't get through to anybody. I was like, all right, no big deal. My buddies are coming up from Arkansas, and they've got a hotel room. So I'm like calling Josh and David and Randy. I'm like, hey, man, we might need to crash on your hotel room floor. There's 4 of us and a bunch of gear. And they're like, fuck yeah, come on down.
Yeah.
So we're like, all right, fuck it. I never got a hold of Tessa. So we get there, and these guys have picked Jansen Beach, which is like one of the nice areas right as you come into Portland, and it's a nice little hotel. And as soon as we pull into the parking lot, security was fucking all over us.
Oh
like,
God.
like he just watched us. We're a bunch of tattooed miscreants. We've got all these giant cases of shit. And I was like, fuck it, I'll just get a room.
Mhm.
By this time, it's like, what, like 3 or 4 in the morning?
Yeah.
It's like, fuck, man. So I'm like, all right, I just need a room. And the lady's like, no, we're all booked. You know, I was like, I can give you some other numbers. And she gave me a bunch of numbers and wrote down like every Portland suburb on a list. And I'm calling every hotel. And something was apparently going on that weekend because I could not get a room. And she's like, did you get anything? And at this point, we're about to sleep in the car, which the rental was a Dodge Caliber. And there's 4 of us. And there's like guitar cases stacked on guitar cases in between the seats. There's one in between the seats standing up like in between the driver and the passenger. It's like, this is not comfortable. And she's like, well, let me run these credit cards and I'll see if any of these rooms, you know, aren't going to be available. And she's like, all right. So I got a room for you guys. It's like, sweet. She's like, here's the thing. It's the presidential suite.
Big
And I
time.
was like, okay, so how much? She's like, $600.
Jesus Christ.
But fuck, I paid it, man. $600. That was like our our fund money.
It's like food.
Yeah,
you know,
that's all of our
everything.
food and gas and like cigarettes and
Yeah.
everything, beer, everything. So we paid it. We went in. It was a real nice room. We were in there for about 4 hours.
Yeah.
About 2.5 hours of sleep and then a round of showers, and then we were back out at the venue. But Tessa finally got back with me the next day. They had been moving all day and she had fallen asleep and was
Damn.
just like out. So I
Mhm.
mean that worked out in the long run. But
Mhm.
Yeah.
I still give her shit about how I had to pay $600 to sleep for 3 hours.
Yeah.
Yeah, not to throw a wrench in here, but Randy, I'm not getting internet on the laptop.
Click that little thing at the top.
Okay. I'm not seeing anything.
Turn it off and then
Turn it off and on again.
yeah. Turn it off. Have you turned it off and then turned it back on?
Okay, let's see. Turn Wi-Fi on. There we go. But it's we got to reconnect it to the TV now, don't we?
Maybe. No, it should say.
Well,
Is it
it's-
not?
Yeah, I've got it pulled up on here now, but it's still like
See-
that on the.
See that blue thing?
Yeah.
Click on
there
that.
we go. Studio.
There you go.
Perfect.
That's the
Very
ticket.
nice.
Hey now.
Technical difficulties.
So this is the car he was about to sleep in. That's the whole reason.
with 3 other people.
yeah, and guitars,
yeah,
cases, and
packed full.
And yeah. So
Yeah, it was
just for context.
it was pretty bad. It was the worst drive. I drove.
Oh God.
Everybody else had quite a bit to drink at that party, so I drove, and it was fucking horrible, man. My knees were like up against the dash to get all that shit in the car. The trunks on those, maybe one guitar is all that would fit in
Oh,
there.
man.
But we all had like huge flight cases, and so
Of course. When
Yeah.
you're coming all the way from Anchorage, you gotta have all that shit.
Yeah.
And the thing was, it wasn't even like, it was me and Johnny, the other guitar player, and Grant, our bass player. Grant, by the way, is like 6'8" or some shit. He's massive. And then this guitar player from another one of the bands, our drummer played in 2 bands, and both of those bands got to play. So they were coming down separately because they were doing a little mini West Coast tour after the Warped Tour dates. So we had like a total different guitar player from a different band in the car with us, just hitching a ride down.
Did you have to drive drive from Seattle to Portland and stuff like that from when you were on the
Yeah,
Warped Tour?
we flew into Seattle and
Mhm.
then rented a car there and drove down to Portland.
What's that drive like?
It's
time wise.
3 hours, three
Okay.
and a half hours. It wasn't
That's
too
not bad.
bad. It's real shitty when your knees are in the dash.
Yeah,
and you
yeah,
can't
yeah.
move.
Yeah.
And
Anytime you got a car that packed, a 1-hour drive is
Yeah.
shitty.
yeah, it was bad. And then somebody had to take a shit, and we ended up stopping. And like, the only thing open in this little town was Burger King, but only the drive-through, and they wouldn't let him in.
Man.
So he's running across the street and down the road trying to go take a dump at this like gas station, and he got there and he turned around and came back and he was like, "No,
yeah.
I'll hold it, man."
Damn, dude.
Yeah, it was rough. That was fun. I guess that's just
Should have took a shit on the Burger King, like right out the door. You know,
just go behind the dumpster.
that's
man.
fucking
Fuck it.
punk rock,
Yeah,
man.
just crash back. It's in a fence.
Tour life, man.
Yeah.
That's what it's
But,
all about.
Yeah, that was fun. It was kind of dumb luck that we got to do that.
Yeah,
Uh,
it was pretty cool.
It was an experience.
Yeah.
It was exhausting, man, to play. Like, it's like 15 minutes or 30-minute set. It was not very long.
Mhm.
You know, we were on, not like we were on the main stage or anything, or like some known band. We had a pretty good crowd, though. It was fun. We didn't fuck up, I don't think. I don't remember.
It sounded great from.
It was a whirlwind, man. It was wild.
Yeah,
It
I'm
was
sure
fun,
something
yeah.
like that. It's
Yeah,
you know
it was
going off.
it was fun. It was fun. I'm glad we got to do that.
Mhm.
That is really rad. That's some. I mean, not a whole lot of people can say they
No,
did that.
it
You know?
was, you know, kind of a, I don't know, when you're, 15-year-old kid playing guitar in your bedroom, what's the coolest thing you can do is go play on Warped Tour.
Yeah.
I got to do that.
That's
that was rad.
that's the
so,
dream for
yeah.
sure.
Yeah.
I wouldn't do it again.
No?
No.
Really, huh?
Not on my own dime,
Yeah.
for sure. It was stressful and just the logistics of it. I don't know how those bigger bands work, but when you got a label backing you and
Yeah.
they're taking care of things. I mean, most of them still drive themselves, but like some of those bands I've seen, big, huge tour buses.
Yeah.
and
When you
a
got the bus
driver
life,
and
you're set,
a
man.
bunk to sleep in.
Yeah, you're set when
Not
you
bad,
hit
yeah.
that bus life.
Mhm.
Yeah, we were rocking that caliber, so we
Yeah.
definitely weren't quite there. But it was fun. It was a rad experience for sure.
Hell yeah.
Even that van life is tough, like
yeah, like
van and trailer.
yeah,
And trying to keep up with a festival like that would
yeah,
be tough.
on a strict schedule like that.
Yeah.
I mean, because a lot of those shows, they're day after day. It's every day,
Yeah.
and they're up and out there, and it's wild.
Yeah. That is a whole production. It's crazy how they do that.
Yeah.
For what, like 2 months?
Yeah,
3
something
months?
like that. 2.5 months, maybe. I
Yeah.
don't know. It's a lot.
That whole thing, setting up stages,
Yeah,
breaking them down.
Yeah.
that was one of the cool things, was to be able to be there, like
Mhm.
See that?
first thing in the morning. You
See
know,
how the
before,
sausage is made.
Yeah, any fans or anything are showed up.
Mhm.
It's just like them trucking it in and setting up the stages. The stage we played on was the Ernie Ball stage, and it was literally like a U-Haul truck,
Huh.
and the side folds down, and that's the stage. So that's kind of like the easiest.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I would
that's
guess
cool,
is
though.
just drop it down,
Yeah.
and throw some shit up there.
Mm-hmm.
But it was pretty fun.
Yeah, that was a good show. That was I don't know. I've been to like 2 or 3 Warped Tours, and I think that was the last one I went to. But it was really good. It was a good one.
It was pretty sweet. It was
The good thing about it, all my other ones had been like in the south, and it had been earlier in the year, so it was so fucking hot.
yeah.
But the
me
weather out
and,
there was great.
Me and David went a few years down to Dallas and it
Yeah.
was just insanely hot. And
Yeah.
I mean, in those, you're just in a parking lot. It's just intense.
That many
blacktop
people.
gets so hot. Yeah,
Mhm.
thousands of kids.
Humidity and all the people fucking jammed together.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm good.
In the butthole of summer.
Yeah,
Yeah,
fuck
fuck.
that.
Yeah, I wouldn't do that again. I'm getting too old for that shit.
I
It's
know, right?
exhausting. It's like, I don't want to do this.
Almost that whole festival life is too much
Yeah.
for me these days.
Yeah, I just wouldn't.
I gotta want it bad.
Yeah, yeah, it's got to be some pretty serious shit I want to see before I
Yeah.
do that.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Even,
there's
even the night shows. I'm like, okay, I gotta gear up for this. I gotta get ready, and
Yeah.
then I gotta have a day to recover. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
For a wild one.
Yeah, I don't know how some of those bands do it. Just like day after day, that would be so exhausting.
Yeah.
Especially if you're doing it all yourself like that with like no crew or
Mhm.
anything.
Yeah. That's the working class right
Yeah,
there.
that's
Those are the
for sure.
dudes. Man, that's so much work.
Because you're there all day.
Yeah.
You're in this city all day, and you're playing for 15 minutes.
Yeah.
Damn.
Some of the bigger bands, I think, maybe play 30 or 45-minute sets on that main stage. But I mean, that's still like, that's not a lot.
I mean,
Yeah.
that's
for all that
yeah.
work.
It's bite size.
Yeah. So
For-
you just got to count on like merch, because they're not getting paid for that.
Mm.
We sure didn't get paid, and we
Yeah.
didn't have a bunch of merch to sell. We had a bunch of shitty T-shirts we made and gave them out for free.
Yeah. you're getting more exposure is all
Yeah.
you're getting on something
Yeah.
like that.
Yeah, for sure, and that's why they do it. And I get it if you're trying to make it, but like we were just having fun,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
we just got, like I said, dumb luck and got to do that. We weren't counting on like a
That's-
record contract.
That's
or
fucking
anything.
sick though, man.
Yeah, it
for
was a
real.
blast. But
Yeah.
yeah, like I said, man, there's no way I would do that again.
But that's what it's all about, you know, is just having fun with it, right? Doing what
right,
you like
and
to
that's
do.
what we did, and that's
Mhm.
what we were doing.
Yeah.
We were just having fun playing punk rock. We weren't
Mhm.
trying to make it big or anything.
Yeah,
Just
that's
having a
what
good time.
punk rock's about. Too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, I don't think there's any punk rock band that's going to be like, well, we just want the money.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah,
it's
we're in it
about
for the
music
money.
first. You
We're
know,
trying to get
for sure.
rich.
We just want to get rich. You know, some of those guys get lucky. The bigger bands, you know, Bad Religion or No Effects, stuff like that
Sure.
are still pretty underground, but they're doing all right. I'm sure
Yeah, I mean they're
they're
doing
not
fine.
hurting for money.
Yeah,
But then, like,
they may not
even-
have yachts, but
yeah, but like
Who
those,
needs a
like
yacht?
some of those pop punk bands that got like really big, like Blink 182 and Green Day.
Mhm.
Fuck, I bet those dudes are rolling. In
Oh
the
my
money and
god.
shit.
Yeah.
well,
And,
and
they
then
just got lucky, man. Right place at the right time,
Mhm.
I guess.
yeah, and then once you get to that certain level, everything gets compounded anyway.
Yeah.
and it's just
And I don't think I would want to do that. Just like you know, somebody leading you around on a leash almost.
Yeah.
Do this and do that. And you're
Yeah.
gonna do this
It-
and do that.
yeah, it hits that
This
certain
show,
point where
yeah.
it's out of your hands.
Yeah, where it's more of a corporation than
Right.
it is, you
Yeah.
know, friends having fun.
yeah,
I don't think it would be very fun at that point. I mean, I'm
Yeah.
sure that kind of money would be great.
It
but-
just depends on who signs you, I guess, you know.
yeah, I think
And,
that's a lot of it is what kind of deal you can get.
You know, you can get some record labels who are just like, all right, you know, take the money. We know that if you do what you want to do, you're gonna get us money back. So do
Exactly.
what you want to do. And then there's other ones that's like, yeah, we need to be kind of more, you know, radio friendly and something more palatable.
Yeah.
So take our money, do what we want you to do. Which
Exactly.
is kind of it's shit, but
yeah.
whatever. But
I guess if you can keep full control of it, I've just read horror stories, man, about you know
Mhm.
people. I mean, like losing the rights to their music. Like
dude,
yeah.
it's like it's not even yours anymore. It's
Mm-mm.
owned by somebody else. I wouldn't want to do that.
and it's not
either.
even your sound anymore at that
Yeah.
point, you know.
But like, who was it? Like somehow the Beatles lost all their rights or something, and then Michael Jackson bought them all.
yeah.
Oh
like-
shit, for real?
Yeah, that was like a
Damn.
big.
Mm.
He
big-
gave it back to him though for
Yeah,
free,
yeah,
just
yeah,
so
yeah.
that they could have it.
I guess
Mhm.
there was a big deal. I guess Paul McCartney and Michael Jackson had were buddies, but then had a falling out because when Paul went to buy all the rights back, Michael Jackson swooped in and outbid him or something.
Oh my
Yeah.
god, dude.
Yeah.
Yeah, the king of pop, he'll get
Yeah.
you.
Get
He'll get you one way or the other.
Let's know.
Yeah.
So yeah,
Was-
I don't think I'd be that into that.
Was there any was there any bad moments when you were on the Warped Tour? Were there any shitty bands or?
No, man, everybody was pretty cool. We didn't have any issues. All the bands were really cool.
Mhm.
The ones that we met, some of those bigger acts, like you know, they're not really out there hanging out.
Yeah.
Like there's this one band. I don't know what they're called. Like it was weird because Warped Tour, when I was younger and going to Warped Tour, it was like punk rock bands,
Mhm.
and then they kind of branched out, which is cool.
Mm-hmm.
I listen to all kinds of music.
Mhm.
But like I felt like we were one of the only punk bands there.
Yeah.
On the dates that we played, it was mostly like metalcore
Yep.
and stuff.
That
and
was
it-
real big then.
Yeah, it was just that was the thing, and they kind of evolved with that. And I mean, respect to them. You got to keep those kids coming in, and
Mhm.
you know, a bunch of kids don't want to come in and see, you know, a bunch of 50-year-old dudes playing skate punk.
Yeah.
So some of the younger bands that were big at the time, there's these one guys, and they kind of looked like Motley Crue did in the early 80s
Mhm.
with the black leather and the studs and the straps and the white makeup and
Mhm.
the big poofy hairdos. We walked out of the venue at Portland and up the street to find something to eat and some coffee before our set time, and these dudes are just like huddled around their van, like not even near the venue. They were like way up the street, or their bus, their big fancy tour bus, and like wouldn't even come down and like talk to anybody else or like
Mhm.
associate. But like a lot of those bands, they were just all hanging out and like catering.
I feel like that's kind of the vibe of Warped Tour, anyways. Especially with those like smaller acts, you know.
Yeah.
We were just in it for the music, you know,
Yeah,
not getting
just having
paid,
a
just
good
here to
time,
play.
yeah.
Yeah, here to
Just wanna
play and have a
a
good
show
time.
and
Mhm.
entertain some people,
Right.
and maybe get a couple new fans.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That's just kind of the culture. Like,
Yeah.
yeah. I like that. That's
We
cool.
had this kid, I don't remember his name, man. It was so long ago, and it was such a whirlwind day, but like he was totally stoked on us, like came out and like had us sign his skateboard.
That's
and all kind of
awesome.
shit. It's like, whoa, this is weird.
Nice.
I think that's the only autograph I ever signed.
Hey, man.
Some kid's skateboard.
One's
in
better than
Seattle,
none,
yeah.
man.
So I was like, well, this is cool.
Yeah.
That's right. Did they give you guys a little booth set up? I can't remember.
They would have if we would have had like a tent. Like one of the bands that came down with us, they went and bought a tent, a little canopy to set up so they could like be under it and throw their t-shirts and shit up there.
Yeah.
And somehow they got lost.
Oh, no.
I don't know what happened, but they were not back at their scheduled set time, and
no.
I don't think they played the first day. But I don't
Oh,
remember. I
shit.
just
That
remember they were
fucking
like, "Where are
sucks.
these guys at? Where are they at?" Everybody's like, "I don't fucking know." It's like, "Where'd you see them last?" Well, they went to buy a canopy. Well, I guess that's where they are then. I don't know.
What happens in that situation if the band's not there? They just move on
I
to the
don't know.
next and
Bump
just
up
go
the next
dead
one
stage?
or something. I don't know. I really don't know. I don't know what happened. It
Weird.
was weird because, like I said, he said he was going to set up this big Alaska stage, and it was just going to be all of our bands that whole day. And that didn't happen when we got there. He just kind of split us up onto some different stages. So there's what they called the Kevin Says stage, which is like bands that he's brought in, blah, 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 whatever. And all the bands played on that stage, all the Alaska bands throughout the day, except for us. We played on the Ernie Ball stage.
Mhm.
And I don't know why, but it was weird because we were totally we were back behind that stage, like we had our guitars out there, and everybody's guitars are just kind of piled back behind the stage. There's really nobody there to babysit them, so we just kind of stood back behind that stage all day. We borrowed the canopy from, I'd say we just kind of stood under it because it was there. I think it was I Wrestled a Bear Once. We're playing that same stage,
Yeah.
and we just kind of like moved over under there, so we had
Oh,
like
look,
a little
a
bit of
canopy.
shit. Yeah, oh, hey, and there's like some guy there tuning all their guitars.
Mhm.
So that's where we tuned up. But I mean, you're supposed to be there like 30 minutes before, and we were waiting, and we had our guitars on, we had our cables plugged in, and our cables were coiled up in our hands, and we went out on the stage because it's 15 minutes setup and your set and your breakdown.
Oh, shit.
Or it's like 20 or 25 minutes. I don't really remember, man. And we just went up and plugged into the amps that are there. Like, we didn't have anything other than our guitars. Our drummer had his own snare that he used, and everything else was backline. So we just kind of went up
I
and
didn't
like,
realize that. That's I didn't even think about that.
yeah,
'Cause-
for those smaller bands, because they're not changing out all those fucking drum kits and letting you bring your
Yeah.
amps. If you had a pedal board, you could come and plug it into this amp. So we get up there, and like I mentioned earlier, when I first went to play with this band, I only had like a little bitty practice amp. It was like a 110-inch speaker or something. I'm like, this isn't going to work. So not having a lot of money to just go out and drop on like a really nice Marshall or Orange or something like that, I'm like pawn shopping it, and I found a Fender half stack. It was like a 100 watt or 150 watt solid state amp. And I was like, perfect. So that was the biggest, nicest amp I'd ever bought. I was like pawning off shit that I had, like spare like guitar parts and stuff from like building guitars, like taking junk parts and necks and throwing them on bodies that the scale length wasn't even right. Like it wouldn't stay in tune or anything. And just like taking it to the pawn shop. Like, what do you give me for
course.
this? So I traded a bunch of junk and was able to get this amp. And we get up there and I plug in, and I'm like, the sound guy for that stage, I was like, hey man, I need help with this thing, because it was a nice like Marshall JCM 800 or something. And I was like, I don't know how to work this thing, dude. I'm going to need you. And he's like, well, what do you want me to do? I'm like, take the distortion and put it all the way up and then back it off like just a little bit. And I was like, other than that, I really don't care. Just make me sound good.
Yeah.
And that's what he did. He was like, I got you, man. So everybody was really cool like that.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, that's
And then-
rad.
So it was a Marshall backline on that stage, and then the other stage was an Orange back line, and I was kind of disappointed because I really wanted to try one of those out, and I'll probably never buy one because they're like
Yeah.
$4,000 for just the head, another $2,000 for the cap.
Yeah.
I'm not spending that kind of money.
I've I've heard mixed things too.
I have too, and that's why I wanted to play one really bad, but
Yeah.
I didn't get the chance. So
I've never played one either. I have heard mixed things though. I don't think I'll ever either spend. I mean, I'm definitely not going to spend the money and gamble it on something that I don't know
gamble.
about. It's just not worth that.
no.
And when you get the opportunity to just jump into one of those,
Yeah.
I think Jerry has. I think he has an orange amp. I'm not sure.
No, he's not his bass rig. He
He
may have. Had
might.
one,
I think he
but
might have had one in the
it's-
past.
Yeah, I know
but-
his bass rig's not
yeah,
that.
it might
now.
not be now.
He's
but-
got that. I can't remember that company's name.
I don't even
They
know.
like a little boutique company.
Mhm.
But it's super. His setup's insane.
Well, he's a massive gearhead. He's
Yeah.
just
Man, we had this. We went through several bass players, and one of our bass players, he had this nice. It was like a all Ernie Ball setup, all Music Man stuff, and they had like this bass head that had this crazy like green neon light on it. It just
Mhm.
looked rad as shit on
Yeah.
stage. It was like this huge like 810 cabinet, and this crazy head setup. There was like this whole rack mounted thing they just set up on top of his cab. It was
Mhm.
legit.
hell
yeah.
And
That's-
he was our second bass player.
Mhm.
We got back from Warped Tour. Our first bass player, Grant, he just moved. He didn't tell anybody. Like, we didn't know. Like, I saw it on like Instagram
Wow.
or Facebook or something. He's like, living in Kentucky. I was like, called Johnny. I'm like, dude, what the fuck's going on? He's
Yeah.
like, I don't know. So we had to find another bass player, and we got this dude from another band we had played a show with, and he filled in for a while, and then we kind of took a little bit of a hiatus, and then we got this chick named Alex, and she played with us.
Did you play in a lot of bands or used to or anything like that?
I just played in the one
Mhm.
while I was up there. I really haven't done anything since I moved down here.
You got any
Number one,
wild
yeah.
band stories? Any venues that were less than tolerable?
No, we kind of booked mostly our own shows. There was
Mhm.
this one place that would let us book shows there. It was actually like, it was a bar. It was connected to a hotel. It was in the worst part of town.
Mm-hmm.
It was called the S Lounge, and it was like a Chinese restaurant,
Mhm.
kind of. And the little Chinese lady loved us
Hell yeah.
for whatever reason,
Cool.
and just kind of let us
Nice.
book shows. So
She
we
likes
booked a lot
skate
of our
punk,
own.
man.
I guess so.
Fast and loud.
She was pretty rad, and then she ended up selling the place, and they changed the name. It became some weird soul food restaurant, and they didn't
Mm.
book bands in there anymore. But all the places we played around were pretty good. Nothing too wild. We played at this one place.
Mm-hmm.
Fuck, I don't remember the name of it, but it was painted. It was this huge 2-story building. It was in a better part of town, but still not a great area,
Mhm.
quote unquote. I mean, Anchorage isn't that bad,
Yeah.
but the more rundown area. And it was painted like Eddie Van Halen's guitar. Like this whole huge ass building was red with the black and white stripes all over it.
Jesus.
And so we were like, huh. And it was just a little dive bar. And we get up there for the first time we're doing a show at that particular venue. And there's a couple other bands playing, and we go to set up, and we're just like kind of fucking bullshitting with each other and talking shit. And the
Yeah.
guy's like trying to get us set up, the owners who's also doing sound. And he's just like, hey, look at me. Look at me.
Oh my god.
Do you want to sound good? We're like, yeah, I guess, man. Well, then fucking listen to what I'm telling you.
What?
Oh
And we're like, all right, man, just calm down. We're like trying to get this shit set up.
Jesus.
So he was kind of a dick at first, and our drummer PJ, for whatever reason, thought it'd be funny to put his cymbal stands for his crash like up as high as they would possibly go. Like he was having to stand up to hit them. And we played our set and we ripped through it, and that dude came up to us and he was like, man, you guys are awesome. Anytime you want to play here, you just call me. And I don't think we ever played there again because he was kind of a dick, but he seemed to
Fucking
enjoy us.
listen.
Yeah.
It's too good.
But not really any crazy stories too much.
Yeah.
Just a lot of fun playing with my friends.
Hell yeah.
and, still friends with all those guys. We're kind of spread out, but we still talk pretty frequently. So it was a lot of fun. It was a good experience.
Yeah.
But I haven't put anything together down here. I just haven't had time. And I don't
Mm.
know nearly as many people as I did up there.
It's a lot tougher down
Yeah,
here. There's just
especially, I mean, like, we're stuck living up there, so
yeah, exactly.
weak, but
There's up there. There's really nothing going on. There's
There's
really
nothing.
nowhere to play,
no.
and that's where like,
VFWs and shit like that. Like, I'm not
Exactly.
interested. I looked at the scene when I got down here, and it's just mostly metal these days.
yep.
Mhm.
Not
Metal
totally my
or
thing.
country or
Country.
cover. That's
Yeah.
it.
Mhm.
As your three
Yeah.
genres.
Yeah, and just not really that into it.
Yeah.
But
And finding someone just to play with.
exactly,
challenge.
Yeah. My mom plays music. I've played with her a few times.
Oh, really?
To help her out. Yeah.
What kind of music?
She does just like mostly like old country or like rock covers,
That's
like
cool.
early like 50s type
Yeah,
shit,
yeah.
and like old country tunes. And at first, I think I was helping them out. She was playing with some people, and they were just like fill in on guitar and kind of help out. It's all like really simple, you know,
Mhm.
cowboy chord stuff. So
Yeah.
I'm like, okay, whatever. And I did that for a while with them, and she was actually playing drums And,
that's
uh,
sick.
and singing, and it got to be too much to do the singing and the drums for.
Mhm.
So I just moved over and started playing drums for her.
That's
Yeah.
awesome.
So we've done a couple things, mostly because she's big in like charity clubs and stuff. So we'll do like little benefit things here and there, and just play a couple songs with her and her buddies.
Nice.
And it keeps my hands busy, I guess. But it's definitely not anything I want to play. Some of
Yeah.
those songs are okay, but like some of them are just ass, and it's not for me.
Yeah.
Like Carpenter's covers, I'd rather not. But you know,
Right.
every once in a while I get paid for doing it. So.
Yeah, the Carpenters are a far cry from any punk rock.
Yeah, they're a far cry from anything for me. But
Yeah.
even some of the like outlaw country tunes that we played, like old like Johnny Cash
Mhm.
or Waylon Jennings stuff, old tunes. It's like,
Yeah.
this isn't. How did you guys work this in? I mean, I get it.
I like
guess,
some of the
yeah.
old kind of country outlaw kind of stuff.
I
but
like some of it, but
a lot of it, yeah, same. Not really my cup.
like
of
I
tea.
said, I listen to everything. There's
Mhm.
not much I won't listen to, maybe,
Yeah.
but
I'll give everything a shot.
yeah,
Yeah,
sure,
right.
Yeah, some of it's
Playing-
really good, but
Playing's a bit different though.
Mhm.
yeah, because I mean, especially like on drums for some of those songs, it's all of them are exactly the same. It's just
Mhm.
maybe a little bit faster or a little bit slower.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
No fills.
Oh,
Like a bunch of the times whenever we go, I'll only take like the hi-hat and the snare and the kick, just because I don't want to let a whole fucking drum set
Yeah.
up that I'm not going to use.
Yeah, that's just gonna sit there.
Yeah.
Just
yeah.
it's just for looks, really.
Yeah. That's the only reason, is because I feel like it looks awkward, like sitting there like, where's the rest of that guy's drums at?
Yeah.
It's like,
Yeah.
well, I'm not going to use them, so why carry them? They're fucking heavy.
for
I
sure.
I had so much trouble finding anyone who knew how to play drums, like when I was
Yeah.
playing up in that area.
Yeah.
So I ended up just buying like the cheapest kit that I could find, and then found out, for one, I'm fucking terrible at
Yeah.
drums. But then I played like a little house party with my now brother-in-law, and played it on drums, and it was the same thing, like really just simple stuff that
Mhm.
for
Yeah.
one I could do.
Yeah,
but-
and that's a lot of it. Like, fuck, I'm not a drummer for sure. I can
Yeah.
hold my own, but
It's
like-
just tough.
Drumming's just a different beast, man.
Yeah,
I
it
can't
really
I can't
is.
coordinate my feet and my hands at the same time. I don't know why.
I had friends that were drummers when I was younger, and like, just I would sit behind their kit, and the worst sounds would come out of it. Like, how
Yeah.
do you do this? And
Yeah.
what actually got me was I met some guys at one point, and he was like, "Yeah, I play drums," and I was like, "Sweet, he was like, bring your drums over to my house." Like, I lived kind of out in the country at the time, no neighbors. I think I was working in a restaurant or something, so odd hours. And he brought his drums over, and we just kind of jammed some bullshit.
Mm.
And then he left. And he's like, "I'll come back and get these later." And I was like, "Okay, whatever." So it's like 3 o'clock in the morning. I'm like, I'm going to play those fucking drums. Like,
yeah.
nobody's here. I don't have any neighbors.
Yeah.
And eventually, I just kind of figured it out.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And ended up buying my own kit.
Hell yeah.
And, yeah, so. And then, you know, playing with other people and kind of learning stuff. And, you know, band rehearsals, you always, like, switch instruments and just fuck off.
Sure.
So we've done that. We had me and Johnny were working on a little side project before I ended up moving where he was playing drums. And we had other people playing guitar with us, and we were just screwing around and wrote a couple songs that we never did anything with. And so, but yeah, I like it.
Yeah.
It's fun. I like playing drums, so.
They are a lot of fun.
Yeah, once you get it figured out and you can kind of stay in a groove, as they say.
That's
and
it.
just kind of
Ride
ride
that
that
line,
out. Yeah,
yep.
just keep it right there in the pocket and have a good time and just play for fun.
Yeah. Yeah. I was always so terrible at it. I wish I was better. I wanted to, but there's just so much more time to put in for that. You know what I mean?
A lot, yeah. And that was my thing. Like, I've been playing guitar since I was, like, consistently since I was probably 14.
Yep.
And so I'd say I'm a lot better at guitar than I am drums. for
Yeah.
sure, but
Yeah.
I'm still not really that good at either. Good
Me
enough
too.
for punk rock.
Hey man, as long as
Yeah.
you're having fun with it, who fucking cares?
Yeah,
you know, man?
exactly.
That's
I'm
what I
not.
said.
I'm not gonna be busting out any like fucking Stevie Ray Vaughan covers or
Santana.
anything. Like no
Mhm.
Santana or
Yeah.
Van Halen or anything. but-
Yeah. As long as you're having fun with it.
but I
Yeah,
can hold
that's
my
the
own.
thing.
So
Yeah, man.
I've been trying to do like a little shoegaze album.
Yeah,
is what
we
I'm trying
talked
to
about
fuck with.
that. Yeah, you said you were looking at doing some
I got that.
shoegaze.
There's still so many more pedals. I'm constantly looking at pedals now.
Mhm.
That's a rabbit hole.
Yeah,
I
I
can't
had
get enough of.
when I had that Fender amp, I bought one pedal, a Boss DS1, the orange distortion pedal, and that's what I ran just to give me that crunch.
That extra.
And I got to the point where I was sick of buying 9-volt batteries, and I just switched it to just the gain all the way up on the amp, and it sounded pretty much the same. And, you know, once you got another guitar and a bass and a drum kit going, it sounds a lot better, but
Yeah.
I still have that head.
Really?
Yeah, I stashed it at a buddy's house when we left, and eventually I had it sent to me just for, you know, nostalgic reasons, I guess.
Mm.
Yeah,
It's my
yeah.
first
That's a cool thing.
first
to,
one.
to
I played
keep.
that band with it. Yeah, it sounds like shit. There's like it's been thrown around. There's knobs broken off. Like you can't adjust some of the settings anymore. The gain still works. The volume still works.
Those are
so
the important ones.
that's the only two I need.
Yeah.
But I got a Marshall JCM 900 now, so that's a little bit
Yeah.
better amp. I lucked out and
Oh
got
yeah.
a good deal on that. So that's the one I've been playing lately.
Yeah. You can't beat that.
I still plug that old Fender into the cab every once in a while. I want to play some of those old songs and was like, wow, I don't know how we ever made it as far as we did.
I got that. I'll have to show it to you after this, but I got that Benson now.
Oh yeah, how is that?
Fucking amazing.
What size is that cab?
It's a the cab is just two 10s.
Okay.
It's a what's strange about it that that head that they make, that one that I got, it's called the Vincent, and it's got their normal clean channel in there, and then it's got a separate dirty channel built into it that you can toggle, and it's pretty rad.
That's kind of that. That Marshall's the same. It's two channels, one clean and one what they call the lead channel,
Yeah,
and it's got a little bit more
yeah. You can't
junk
go
in
wrong
its
with
trunk.
that.
You know,
Yeah,
you push it a little bit further.
yeah. Those. How old is that one you got? Do you know?
It's I believe it's probably a mid to late '90s model.
Nice.
Yeah, it's one of the older ones.
Yeah, that's the way to
As
go
far
with
as amp
those
goes,
Marshall
yeah.
heads.
It needs some work. It needs retubed and biased, and tubing I would do myself.
Yeah.
But I watched a video about biasing the amp, getting it dialed into where the tubes are supposed to be and the wattage and shit. And the guy was like, "If you touch this, you will die."
Yeah.
And I was like, I think I'll take that in and have it done.
Yeah.
I'm gonna pass on that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's
to
a
that.
lot going on in there.
That's what's always crazy to me. The dudes who, that's what
it's
they do.
insane. Like, well, just the guys that like did it first.
Yeah.
Like, that's nuts.
Yeah, who'd have thought you could pass sound through those? And
yeah, just and I've looked I like to tinker and stuff, like rebuild guitars and change pickups in them, and I'll show you afterwards. I brought a guitar with me today. I wanted you to check it out. We talked about it, that Jag that I rebuilt. It's a Fender Jaguar. So, I'm pretty good at like soldering and stuff like that. But I looked at the inside of that amp, and it's just like, Jesus. And I've looked at like building my own pedals and like getting kits and stuff. And I've looked at the schematics, and it's just like, fuck.
Yeah.
How the fuck did they do this just to like, I'm going to solder this here and this there and this there, and then I'm going to plug this shit into it, and I'm just going to rip off this wicked-ass solo.
Experiments,
and, like,
man.
yeah, just
That's
insane.
Cool. Yeah.
I guess just knowing what does would be beneficial, or I don't, so
Yeah.
that's why it's just all Greek to me, I guess, when I look in there. But I'm sure some cats, like engineers and stuff, look in there, and they're like, oh, yeah.
Yeah, they already know,
Yeah,
or at least have an idea.
I'm going to go here and go here, and
Yeah.
this is what it'll do. But I've been looking at it, and it's just insane, like, to make just the distortion sounds, or make a tremolo effect, or to make phaser effects.
Yeah.
And it's like, God,
That's
damn.
way above my pay grade
Yeah.
for sure.
Like, I checked into it because I was like, I don't really want to spend fucking, like, I want this pedal. I don't want to spend $150 on it. Let me see if I can just build one. And then it's like, yeah, you can build it for $50.
Yeah.
And probably
Nice.
150 hours of your time.
Exactly.
You're going to fuck it up.
Yeah.
And have to redo it 8 times.
You're gonna make
Yeah.
a new
Yeah.
effect, yeah.
Yeah. So, yeah. I
I'm
think
with
I'll
you.
just keep buying pedals.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's easier.
Yeah.
Way
it's a lot
easier.
easier.
My problem solving when especially pedals and amps specifically is, okay, I didn't plug that in right. Let's try this hole.
Yeah, man. And that's like when I really started looking into it, like I was like, okay, well, let's like maybe branch out and do a couple other things and not just play punk rock, because definitely I can play other stuff.
Right.
So let's mess with this and maybe just demo some shit at my house, like the home studio style, and like let's look into some of these other pedals and stuff. And there's like, I had no idea there's like certain sequences of how they should be plugged in. Like, don't put your distortion after your
Yeah.
What?
tremolo. Yeah,
Really?
like there's
Yeah.
like they have to be plugged in series. And especially with like this Marshall that I have now, it has the effects loop. So like the way I always did it when I'd get a hold of pedals when I was a kid is it into the amp, into the pedal, out of the pedal, into the guitar.
Yeah.
And this shit, you like plug it in the back, and then the guitar goes in the front still, and you have to have it in a certain order, or your like signal gets fucked up and it won't sound right.
Yep.
It's kind of like on Spinal Tap when he's picking up like radio traffic transmissions to his guitar. That happened to me once. When I
What?
was
Really?
like 15.
Wow.
I had gotten a big muff pedal off of somebody, the big green original 90s big muff. And I had it plugged in and other pedals plugged in, and everything was just one into the other. And we were just fucking around and seeing what kinds of cool new sounds we could make. I was probably like 15. And plugged it into this amp. And I was playing it and checking it out. And I went to adjust it. So I set the guitar up on my knee and I was holding the neck. And it was like German ham radio sounds started coming out of the amp. Like they were
What?
like, I don't know what they were saying. It was definitely one of the Germanic languages. And I could move it a little bit and it would
What?
get clearer or fuzzier, and I have no idea what
Did
the
any
fuck I was
guitar
thinking
sound
of.
come out with it?
Yeah, it was fine when you were strumming the strings. You couldn't hear shit, but as soon as you stuck that
What?
neck up in the air, the big ass antenna and started picking up fucking
Radio transmission.
just
That's
like
fucking punk, man.
straight up like German. I wish I could have recorded that somehow just to have that.
Damn,
Because it was
that's
the
cool.
weirdest thing. I was just like, what the fuck?
Imagine that like on stage between your songs.
Yeah, exactly.
Like
you
you're
know?
just
Yeah.
tuning up,
Just-
and then one guy's just like picking up this
Picking up
weird-
whatever. It's like different every night. Depending on how the wind's blowing, right?
Yeah.
The weirdest part about it is being in like central Arkansas and picking up
Picking
those
up German.
transmissions. Like, where the
Weird.
fuck was that coming
Yeah.
Yeah, right.
Weird.
from? You know?
Could have been from anywhere.
Yeah.
That's the thing with those old radios. Some of those would fucking go a long way, but I mean,
Yeah. yeah, like ham radio operators talking to people across the country, and that had to be what it was.
Surely, but even still,
Yeah.
that's a crazy thing too.
Well, that's like me and my wife were talking about it. We were watching some like documentary about space or something, and it's like they're getting these like pristine pictures of all these outer planets, and they're being sent back to Earth. It's like literally hundreds of thousands of miles away, and I don't get cell phone service in between my house and my job.
That's true. Yeah.
But they're getting transmissions from Pluto, like crystal clear
Yeah.
pictures. Fucking
That's a good
technology
point.
is weird, man.
it is
Technology's
weird.
strange.
It is
I
really
guess,
weird. You would think they'd
yeah.
have that figured out. You
Well,
could
I
get.
figure they do, but you get what you pay
Yeah.
for. How much is it costing? Just remember the early days of text messaging and shit. Like,
That's
it was
true.
like 50 cents a text or whatever.
Yeah,
Really?
that's right.
Yeah.
Oh wow, I didn't know that.
forgot.
Like you didn't have unlimited text. The first cell phone I got did not have unlimited text. You could not send pictures. The phone did not take pictures. It was a
Yeah.
phone.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I remember when texting came out, man.
Yeah.
Kind of
I
gonna
remember
date me here, but
I got my first one. I was probably, I don't know, 16, 17.
yeah.
And there was, I'd be sending all these texts to this little girl. And I remember the first phone bill was so
Yeah,
outrageous.
like
Really?
insane.
Because
yeah.
it was
Wow.
50 cents to send one, but 50 cents to receive one.
What?
Yeah, like
And
it went
one-
both ways.
Damn.
One wasn't a full text. Like if you texted along, if you took the minute to, it would break
Split
it up.
into like 3 or
Yeah.
whatever.
There was a
Split
character
it.
limit.
Yeah, there was a
Yeah.
So
limit.
you double down on some of those, and
Yeah.
I remember I got in so much trouble
Yep.
those
Damn.
first couple months.
I
Yeah, the
remember-
first phone I had, it split it up like that, like into increments, but it wasn't 50 cents a text. Jeez.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I
Yeah.
never
Old
even heard
days.
of that.
Yeah. Yeah,
Man.
they did not have those unlimited plans in those
Damn.
days.
No.
I remember, like, when I was a kid, my aunt had a cell phone, and it was, like, not to be used. It was only for emergencies. It was under
Wow.
the seat of her car.
Yeah.
It was built into a purse.
Yeah.
Those old bag phones.
Wow.
Yeah.
And, like, it was a treat if, like, on the way home, she would be like, I'm going to use my cellular device and call ahead for a pizza.
Yeah.
That's an
Yeah.
emergency.
Yeah, and that call probably, cost $10.
Jeez.
Yeah.
Like, it was insane.
Yeah.
They were not.
My mom had one of those. Yeah. I
Yeah, they
remember
were
those.
not nearly as accessible as they are now. Man.
Yeah, I think
Yeah.
the only thing I remember kind of like that was like minutes, like buying minutes for your phone or whatever.
Yeah, like prepaid. like
Yeah.
going and buying
Mhm,
the
buying a
I had
card.
several of those.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The old burner way.
Yeah. Yeah. That was insane.
Yeah, those were weird times, man.
It was different.
That's where it all really started. All the to what it is now.
Yeah, it's crazy.
It is crazy. I was thinking about that the other day, like how, not so much how the phones have changed, but like what they are, like now. You have every fucking thing.
Yeah, everything's there. It's just like right there, like getting here. Like I've never been here.
Yeah.
You just give me the address, I type it in, and it tells
Mhm.
me exactly where to go.
Yep.
Boom, turn by turn.
Yeah, like and it's weird thinking back, like how me and like David, like we'd go to those like Warped Tour shows and shit in Dallas. There's no fucking GPS. There's no smartphone.
Uh-huh.
It's
Yeah.
like this big city you've never been to. You're, you know,
Yeah.
17, 18 years old. You're
Jeez.
just like 6 hours away from home. You don't have a phone. You don't have shit.
Yeah.
It's just like you know the address and you kind of figure it out. Or if you were fancy, you could print the MapQuest directions.
Yeah,
Like,
but have
like
the actual
eight,
Yeah.
picture
eight sheets
you're
of
trying to
paper. It's
read.
like, all right,
Yeah.
turn left up here, man.
Yeah.
Jeez.
Yeah.
What did you like? Take a map with you? Or you just kind of went by road signs.
We just kind of went by road signs. I don't know. There was a couple
Damn.
times we went
Yeah.
down there and we were totally lost, and we stayed at the same place every year. We never remembered how
Yeah.
to get back there, but like we'd be totally lost. And
Damn.
one time David had just bought this Cadillac and he didn't have tags on it yet, so we were driving. We got just outside of Little Rock. There was a state trooper on the side of the road, so we pulled over and asked him if he'd give us temporary tags, and he did.
Hell yeah.
David put him on the back. By the time we got to Texas, those motherfuckers were long gone. So we're driving around in a fucking forest green Cadillac with a Taking Back Sunday sticker in the back window, like top to bottom.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah, we got
man.
pulled over.
Yeah.
That
Big
dude
time.
cracks
Yeah, I
me
bet.
up.
Oh man, he's a trip.
He's the funniest dude.
For real. For real. That was fun. Yeah, we've had a lot of fun, me and David, back in the day.
Yeah.
Doing
Biggs
crazy
David?
shit.
Yeah.
Ah, cool.
Yeah.
Okay.
We went to school together. We've known each other since we were like freshmen.
Yeah, he cracks me up.
Yeah, he's funny.
Yeah.
Living that dad life now.
Yeah.
Again.
Yeah, I will be right back, y'all. I gotta use the restroom.
I can't imagine trying to, like, now find a place without
Yeah,
having anything,
like,
like that.
it's insane because we would just load up and go. Like, I mean, it's pretty easy to get from Little Rock to Dallas. It's
Yeah.
pretty much a straight shot.
Yeah.
That's not complicated, but then you get down into Dallas.
Yeah.
And Dallas is a big city, man.
It
There's
is.
always a lot of construction going on and detours, and it's just like,
Just that traffic alone.
yeah, and it's just like, well, okay. So there were several times where we would like get there and then like call the hotel and be like, we're lost.
Yeah.
How do we get to you? And they'd be like, all right, well, where are you? And they'd tell us how to get there. And then it was like the same thing the next day. Hey, we're trying to get over here to this venue. Can you tell us how to get there or where that is? And they'd be like, all right, go this way. And you'll see it.
That's another thing too. Can you imagine if somebody asked you like where something was? Would you be able to give them like good directions?
If I'm familiar with the area, yeah. Like,
Because I can't. Right now, I've lived here for a couple years now. I've lived in this area almost my whole life, and if someone was like, "Hey, I need to get here. What roads do I take?" I'd be like, "I don't fucking know." You turn left when you see the church.
yeah.
You know.
I've gotten a lot of directions like that. We played a show in Alaska. It was this guy put on this big barbecue every year, and it was on his land in a place called McCarthy, and it was like up north and then way back down around south, nearly in Canada. I think it took us 12 or 13 hours to drive there. We loaded up in my buddy's truck and went, and
That's a long fucking time to drive.
yeah, it was a long drive. It took us a while, but we like screwed around and like took our time. And it was like GPS and shit. The smartphones didn't work out there. There's no signal. There's like no plumbing. It's
Oh,
like
God.
way the fuck out there.
Nowhere.
And we had a satellite phone, the OnStar or whatever, was built into John's truck, and we used that to call the guy and be like, "Hey man, are we going the right way?" And he was like, "Yep, just stay that way." And was like, "When you get past this lake, turn left and then go to the big forked tree and turn right." And it was like
Holy
way
shit.
out there, but that was rad. We just like camped out on this dude's property, and it's like a whole weekend thing that he does.
Yeah, that's pretty
I
rad.
used to do. I don't know if he still does, but I'm sure. But
That's the place to do
it
something
was
like
fun.
that.
So it'd just be like pretty much all Alaska bands, and just come up, and he kind of throws this big throwdown party for this little community out there where it's literally hundreds of miles away from anything, up these crazy mountain roads. We got a flat. We got there and woke up the next morning, and the tire was totally flat on my buddy's truck, and it was like, fuck. So we talked to the guy, and he's like, "Yeah, just go back down here, and there's like this little airstrip where this guy like flies little 2-seat planes, and he can probably fix a tire." And he did.
Yeah.
There's a rock sticking right through it. It was just
Oh,
insane
fuck.
gravel roads.
I figure, man, I think in that sort of area, you'd have to know how to do shit like that.
Yeah.
Like fly
Absolutely.
planes, like
Fly a
get in and out.
plane and
Otherwise, you're fucked.
rebuild a plane, and
Yeah.
there's a lot of places up there, man, where like you can drive to a certain spot, and then like in the wintertime, these guys are using snow machines to get to and from their house,
Yeah.
Man.
like way up in there. Just crazy shit.
That's the real Wild West. Still.
Yeah, there's still some wild ass areas up there. It's intense.
And if you don't get eaten by a bear.
Yeah, I never saw a grizzly bear the entire time I was there, and I was out in places where I should have seen them. Well, I saw one once. It was on the side of the road, kind of walking along. It was that one time. Black bears in the city all the time, though, man.
Mm.
They just come in and get in dumpsters, but like
Yeah.
I thought I was going to have to deal with grizzly bears a lot more up there than I ever did. Just the way people were telling me. It's like fucking bears everywhere, man. I lived there for a long time. I saw a grizzly bear once.
Was it a giant, massive
Oh, yeah, it's a
beast, though,
big,
right?
Big fucking bear.
Those
Yeah.
things are crazy.
Yeah.
Killing machines.
Yeah,
man.
it was intense.
Yeah.
The moose, though, man, are what you have to worry
Yeah.
about. I guess they kill more
Yeah.
people every year
Mhm.
than bears,
I've
and
heard
they
that.
are fucking huge.
Yes. Like
Like-
I didn't realize how big, just how giant moose are. You
way
know?
bigger than a horse.
Like,
oh
my
especially a
God,
big
dude.
bull.
That's what I've
Mhm.
heard.
Yeah, massive.
And like
See.
hit them with your car, and then they're like, "What the fuck?" and walk
yeah,
off.
and
like,
your
big.
car's fucked.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're huge, and they're everywhere. And you're not really allowed to fuck with them.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it was kind of nice because you could just get up and like maybe you didn't really want to go to work right now, and you'd be
Fucking
like, "Hey,
hell.
there's a moose in my driveway,
Dude,
so I'm gonna be
yeah.
late," and then you go back to sleep for a couple hours.
So
But then sometimes you really do get up and there's a moose laying down behind your car, and
Jesus,
you can't do anything
the
about it.
average bull, a male moose, stands at about 6 feet fucking tall.
At the shoulder.
at the
Look at that
shoulder.
picture. Look, those guys are
Look at
running
that
from
fucking
it.
thing,
They-
dude.
I mean, those guys are what, maybe 10 feet, 15
Even
feet
if they
from
are
it?
like farther away than the moose is, like that's still
The f-
gnarly.
The
Yeah.
head is as tall as that fucking van.
Yeah,
Jesus Christ.
I had a Tahoe, and they were well above my Tahoe.
Fuck.
It's a
They're
fucking
massive.
monster.
840 to 1,500 pounds is the average bull moose.
Yeah, they're
What's
scary
the
as shit,
biggest
man. They're
moose?
mean. They get real weird, man, because they get into the town and they get tangled up in Christmas lights and stuck in backyards and dogs chasing them, and they get real on edge. And
Jeez.
like, I don't remember if it was before or after we left. There was this old man, a custodian. He was like 70 years old, a
Mhm.
custodian at the college up there, the university, and he was coming out to go home. And it was after dark, which means it could have been 4 in the
Yeah,
afternoon.
who knows what
Like
time that
winter,
is.
winter is when they're really around town. And it was like this L-shaped cove in the building, and he came out, and that door locked behind him, and there was a moose out there, and it trampled him to death, man. And he couldn't go anywhere, but it had a calf with it, and it just fucking freaked out, and he kind of got in between them, and it stomped him to death. And
I imagine,
nothing that could be done.
Even like 1,500 pounds stomping on you.
Yeah.
That can't take
Just
too long.
giant hooves.
Oh, but that's gotta suck. dude.
Yeah.
God, those things
Oh,
are
that thing is
fucking.
getting.
But they're like right downtown all the time, like right in the middle of the city. There was
Look at how much bigger that thing is than that fucking car, dude.
Yeah.
Dude,
That's
Yeah.
insane.
It's a monster.
Oh
Yeah.
my god! Look, even compared to this fucking dude.
yeah,
Whoo!
they're massive.
Yeah. Fuck that.
I wouldn't fuck with one.
No, I'm good. I'm good on that.
Yeah.
There was
that's-
one that used to hang around. It was like this little kind of like a court square downtown, and they had like benches, and it was like the old city hall building from Anchorage back in the day, and it was like recessed into the ground, and there's like concrete benches built into this little square, and then
Mm.
there's a tree, and there was always a moose under it at this one time of year, and this lady decided she was gonna go pet it, and it kicked her right in the face.
Dude.
Oh my
Like,
God.
didn't even like get up, just stuck its leg up and kicked her right across the face. I guess she was fine, but
Dude, a kick from a fucking
it knocked her out cold, man.
Yeah, had to have. That's fucking insane.
Jesus.
Yeah.
I'd almost rather box Mike Tyson.
Yeah.
That's
But
a tough
yeah,
one.
I mean, those you'd come out and it'd be like right there outside your front door. We really had to be careful, like letting the dogs out, taking
Yeah.
the kids out to like open the door and look, because our driveway was kind of like that. It went down and turned up to the house, and there was a privacy fence on one side, just as wide as the driveway is all we had, and then it was a little retaining wall. The house was kind of built into a hill, and there was no way to get out.
So
like-
are they usually like more antsy when they have a calf with them?
Oh yeah,
Like-
man! When they got one of their little
Mhm.
ones with them, they get crazy,
Yeah.
and that's what makes them nuts.
Mhm.
But I wouldn't want to mess with one without
no,
a kid either.
no, I'm good.
Have you ever
Yeah.
eaten one?
I have, man.
Are
they good?
Yeah. A buddy of mine. I'm not really a hunter, but I knew this dude up there that was, and he gave us a bunch of meat, which was nice because we were kind of broke at the time. And he gave us a shitload of meat, dude. I made moose chili,
Ooh.
moose sloppy joes, moose soup, moose pizza, moose burgers.
Moose pizza.
Yeah, just
Hell
instead of
fucking
ground
yeah,
beef
dude.
all over that fucking pizza, man. We were just making anything you could make with ground beef. We were making it with moose for about
Yeah.
a week, and it is a greasy meat.
Yeah.
And that was another Alaska diarrhea
Yeah.
incident for me.
Right,
Yeah,
right.
it tore my stomach up. It's really good, but it's real greasy.
Mm.
I mean, honestly, man, if I just made like a burger out of it and gave it to you, you would know it wasn't beef, really. It's not too gamey,
Yeah.
but it's pretty good.
Yeah, I guess it's, yeah, pretty same family
Yeah,
as like a cow, just bigger, hardier.
yeah,
So yeah, that makes sense.
way bigger.
Way bigger.
I almost shot one time right outside my house because I went outside to smoke, and there's a lady running down the street, and just kind of out of the corner of my eye I look up, and there's this big fucking brown thing lumbering behind her, and I was like, holy shit, she was out for a walk, and there's a dog running around. I was like, she was out for a walk and snuck up on this moose, and it's about to get her. And I was like 2 seconds from running back in the house to get my gun, and then I kind of like squinted because I'm kind of blind anyways, and it was a horse. She was leading her horse. I almost shot this poor lady's horse because I thought it was trying to kill her.
Try to try to explain that one to
Yeah.
her.
She would have been pissed, I bet. I definitely can't afford a horse, I'm sure. So
Yeah, that would have been a tough
worked
one.
out. Yeah. I don't know why she had a horse on a rope in the middle of town, but she did for whatever reason.
Hey, it's Alaska. You do what
Yeah.
you want, right?
Yeah, I found out later there was a little farm like up and around from us, kind of on the hillside, that they had horses, and it was like a little riding school.
Oh
So it's
no!
Jesus.
Probably some
Bro.
poor little girl's
Yeah.
pony that I almost shot.
You almost killed Buttercup, man.
Yeah. So
That's funny.
that would have been scary.
Yeah, my buddy. I worked with a guy who lives up in Maine. A lot of those ship dudes are from up in that area.
Yeah.
Mhm.
He was telling me about like some of the moose and shit like that up there. He said his wife has almost hit one with her car. He said he sees it all the time. He works on their fire department too. He
Yeah.
says he's seen shit like that all the time, like people totaling out vehicles and moose
Yeah.
just fucking strolling away.
When I first moved up there, like it was that first day, and it's my ex-wife's father. We weren't married at the time, so it was just my girlfriend's dad's picking me up from the airport, you know.
Mhm.
And I get there, and I've just flown for 12 hours. I've never been there before, and he's not there. And I don't really have any way to get a hold of anybody. This is still kind of pre-smartphones and stuff, you know. Flip phones is what we had in those days, and
The razors.
yeah. And finally he shows up, and he's like, man, I'm sorry, I was coming back from camp. He was camping up in the mountains, and he was like, I was pulling this guy's truck out for him, and I hit a moose on the way home.
Damn.
So he shows me his truck, and it's an old forestry truck that he had gotten from like a auction, and it's a big like 4-door heavy duty Ford truck. I don't know exactly what model, but it was a big bitch of a truck, and the front bumper is 1/4-inch diamond plate steel that is like welded in this big box. It's got this huge like 5,000-pound winch on it, just
Yeah.
a massive. And he nailed that fucker doing like 70. He said it looked like he just hit a giant bug. Like it didn't touch the truck at all.
Oh my god.
But he's on the back. He's got a trailer, and on the trailer is a fucking Ford Explorer, and the fucking Ford Explorer flew off the trailer and like totaled it.
Holy
And
shit.
his truck was fine.
Damn. Oh.
But he was like, "Yeah, I had a lot of conversations with state troopers tonight. So sorry, I'm late." Yeah.
Jesus.
Just massive. They're like their eyes don't reflect like deer.
Oh.
You know,
really?
deer gets in the road and you
Yeah.
can't see him. The moose's eyes don't really do that. So if you're out on the highway and you're moving,
Boom.
Good luck.
just right there, bam, they'll jump out in front of you. There's videos you can look up where they're just like walking across the street, like right, and you stop, and they might decide they're gonna stop right in front of you, and just stand there for 20 minutes, and traffic's at a standstill, and there's just not shit you can do, because they don't give a fuck if you honk or scream, or they're just like there. Sometimes they'll just lay down.
Moose
Yeah,
don't give a
fuck,
fuck.
no.
What are they gonna be afraid of?
Mm.
Death? Psh. Car ain't going to do shit.
Do they even? I mean, I guess bears could kill them, right?
I mean, I guess a grizzly
That'd
probably,
be quite a showdown.
maybe like a calf or something, or a wounded moose.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know if one would even try and fuck with one of those big bulls.
See if you can find a story of one doing it.
Bear
I'm curious.
versus moose.
Bear versus
I'm
moose.
curious. Because like a 1,500-pound bull, right? What's the average weight of a grizzly bear? Maybe like
Probably close to the same. Probably 800 pounds, maybe at least. I would guess.
surely at least 800 pounds.
Yeah, but I don't. The grizzlies are pretty docile though. I mean, they just really eat fish and berries. They're not like big time carnivores. You know, it's mostly fish and berries, and they usually don't fuck with you. They
As long as
come
you-
and steal your fish when you're fishing. You know,
Yeah.
you have to watch out. They always say just give them the fish,
Just let them have it.
Yeah,
Yeah,
just
yeah.
and they'll
So-
fuck off in a minute after they eat everything you've caught all day.
Let's see. Can I get the weight? Okay, so bears, grizzly bear, the average weight is about 600 pounds in males and 290 to 440 for the females. They stand about. So whenever they're on all fours, they're about 3'3", but then whenever I guess they stand up, they're about 6'5".
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so let's see. Sometimes bears rarely try to kill giant moose. A bear attacking a moose is risky, and they have plenty of salmon to eat. So
Okay. Yeah, that makes sense.
yeah.
That is those moose are a lot bigger than.
But
Yeah.
there is a Fox News
Grizzly.
article that's from 2007 that says bear kills moose in Alaska driveway as residents watch.
That's a pretty typical day up
So
there.
welcome to Alaska.
Yeah, like if that popped up on like the news in the morning, I wouldn't even think.
It's like you
twice
can
about
tell.
It. Yeah.
It's
Oh,
like you
yeah.
can tell like
Again.
articles that
Yeah.
come from Florida. There's like the
Yeah,
obvious
exactly.
Alaska articles.
Yeah.
Homer,
Yeah, of course the
Alaska.
bear did it.
Homer.
500-pound grizzly bear. Jeez.
That's a big bear.
Oh my God, they have YouTube videos of it. That's gnarly.
Can you imagine just like walking around and coming across a bear that big? 500 pounds.
Well, then at that point,
I love
like,
the quote though right here. She tore apart the chest cavity, ripped out the heart, and ate it.
oh my
Gary said.
God, it's like she knew that's
Yeah.
what kept it alive. That's fucking metal. Jesus.
Uh,
Well, then what do you do at that point? You just have a fucking moose carcass in your driveway. How do you
yeah,
get that out?
I
Tow
think-
truck?
Yeah.
Tow truck, yeah.
I
that's
mean,
fair.
you see them every once in a while, like on the side of the road where somebody's hit them. And
Jeez.
they'll get somebody out there to deal with it eventually.
Man.
But
I mean, I guess you gotta
I
what?
guess you
Carve
call-
that thing up.
call fishing game, and
Yeah.
I've heard of them. They'll take it to the zoo and feed the wolves and shit with it, like
That makes sense.
donated carcasses, I guess.
Yeah.
Take it. I always wondered why they didn't like take them to like the homeless shelters and stuff. There's a huge homeless problem, but I guess
Mm.
it's something with the meat. I'm like, fuck, man, this is it's
I
like
mean,
1,500 pounds of meat, man.
shit, man. Yeah,
You
for
know?
sure.
So,
Make
but I
something
guess
out of
they worry about parasites and shit, so they usually just take it to the zoo.
Yeah, if a bear especially like just got a hold of it, you know.
Yeah. Like, well, this one's pretty ripped up. I don't know if you guys want it. Pretty
It's
mangled.
got bear slobber in there. We
Yeah.
don't need that.
There's a lot of bear slobber on this one, guys. You might want to pass.
Yeah, maybe not this
yeah.
one.
Yeah, maybe take that to the zoo. It's cool.
He's only been sitting out for like a week. It's fine.
Yeah, he's good. He's
Well, I mean,
good.
it's like 15 degrees. So it's-
That's
yeah,
true.
that's a
yeah.
good point.
It's just a refrigerator.
yeah,
Alaska's just one big refrigerator.
it really is. There were many times I just, throw the beer in the snow outside the front door.
That's
and be like,
awesome.
Yeah, that would make sense.
yeah.
Huh.
Natural cooler, like that.
What causes the homeless problem up there?
I don't really know, man. I just know there's a huge homeless problem. A lot of it is the natives. There's a real bad alcohol problem up there. It's kind of like here where we have like wet and dry counties.
Mm-hmm.
Up there, it's kind of the same. We don't really have counties. They have boroughs. It's like 6 huge boroughs, and then the little villages here and there outside of the bigger cities, which there's only a couple. And there's some of them that they're completely dry. You're not even allowed to bring it in. Like, they search your bags at the airport. Like, you are not allowed to take booze. When I traveled for work up there, there would be rigorous bag checks. Got any alcohol? No. What's in this? Nothing. You know, and they're like fucking dead serious about it
Wow.
because they just don't do well with alcohol. And
Interesting.
You know, I think they just haven't been exposed to it as long as what somebody was saying. I don't really know. I'm definitely not an expert on that subject, but like they're just genetically, they didn't have alcohol for hundreds of years and they lived up there, and then all of a sudden like Russians are coming in and like introducing them to alcohol, and their bodies just like their metabolism, it doesn't process it right,
Mm-hmm.
and they kind of, it gets away from them really fast, and there's a lot of homeless people.
I think there was an issue with that with the Native Americans
Right,
as
in
well.
this area when the Europeans first came.
Yeah.
The same kind of issue, but I don't think that some of those Alaskan tribes were exposed even that early. You know, they were more kind of isolated up there for longer,
Yeah.
and so they've only been introduced to alcohol for a few generations. So some of them don't handle it too well.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of outreach programs and stuff up there set up.
So it says here, what year is this from? I don't know. But it says in Anchorage, there are about 3,000 to 4,000 people without permanent housing, or they're living in shelters or couch surfing, quote unquote.
Yeah, it's a lot of camps
Yeah.
How do
along
you-
creeks and
How do they find those numbers? They just take like a
I
homeless
guess just like a
census?
census, yeah.
probably.
Hey, you got a home?
No.
Not me.
Okay.
I just sleep on my boyfriend's couch.
Let's see.
Yeah, a lot of camps and stuff, man. You see them all over the place, you know,
Mhm.
just kind of out in the woods. You'll see tarps and tents and shit, little camps, and
That
they
seems-
try and clear them out.
It seems like the worst place to be homeless.
Yeah.
So fucking cold.
I mean, if you're like homeless and just walking around all day, why don't you walk somewhere warmer? Like, just walk.
Yeah.
Like, get the fuck out of there.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
I mean, I know border crossings would kind of be an issue, you know, with no home. You probably really don't have any papers, but you're already living in the woods, so you can just kind of go
Yeah.
around, you know.
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
don't walk right up to the checkpoint.
I
And be
mean-
like, well, I'm just passing through. Just kind of go around.
Right. What are
Get
they
a
gonna
few
do?
miles up
say-
the road. They're not the entire length of the border, you know. Just kind of go around.
Yeah. Figure out a way
Yeah.
around there. Yeah. They can't just stop you.
Yeah, I mean, if you get caught, they're going to deport you, right?
Right.
So then don't tell them you're from Alaska. Tell them you're from fucking Southern California and let them deport you back to there.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm from where it's always warm.
Yeah.
Yeah, that seems like a way
yeah,
better
it's
idea.
intense, man. They're a big time problem up there for homelessness.
Yeah, that's crazy.
I definitely wouldn't want to do it.
No. I mean,
No.
yeah.
That doesn't seem
Homeless-
like something I want to
I
do.
don't want to be homeless to
No.
begin with.
Yeah.
But
Nah, I'll
in
opt out
Anchorage,
of that one.
like
Yeah.
Anchorage, I mean, it gets down in like the negative 20 sometimes. You know, winter it's
For
going to
sure.
be anywhere like negative 10 to positive 10 maybe for
Damn.
long stretches. But then there's those cold snaps that come through and it's like negative 20, negative 25.
That's fucking
And
crazy.
that's fucking cold, man.
Mhm.
Like,
Yeah.
if you've never been in that kind of weather, it's different. You can feel your nose hairs freezing. You can feel your
Ooh.
eyes, like, get cold if you're out in it. The coldest I was in Fairbanks on a job, and it was, like, negative 36.
Fuck that,
And
dude.
it was fucking cold. Up there, there's a block heater on your car, and every parking lot, you're at the grocery store at Fred Meyer or whatever, there's a post in front of the parking spot so you can plug your car in, and it's just a heater on your oil pan to keep your oil from freezing.
Jesus Christ.
And it's got to be plugged in. Like Anchorage, it wasn't that bad. Some cars had those.
Mhm.
I think I bought a used Tahoe. I think it had one on there. I never even tried to use it. I had an auto start on it, so I just fired up every once in a while. If it was too cold, it'd run for 30 minutes and then shut off. But that's fucking cold.
Yeah, I think I'm gonna pass on
cold.
that one.
It's intense.
When you have to plan your car's survival around
You
the
gotta worry
temperature.
about
right.
Yeah, the survival of your vehicle.
Uh-huh.
But it's insane because, you know, you get up there and you get kind of used to it, because I would be in Fairbanks, it's negative 36, and stopping to get some lunch or whatever for reporting to the site for, you know, the day, and there's just ladies coming in booty shorts and
What?
as much as maybe a sweatshirt,
Man.
and I'm wearing like a heavy duty Arctic parka that I bought from like the
Yeah.
Army surplus store. I'm like, I want the most serious
Mhm.
shit you have.
Mhm.
Yeah.
So big fur lined hood.
Yeah.
It's like buttoned all the way up like Kenny from South Park. You can just see my eyes sticking out barely.
Mm.
Yeah.
This lady's running around in like little booty shorts that says Juicy or some shit on the back of them.
Yeah.
And a University of Fairbanks sweatshirt. Not even a
Damn,
hoodie,
dude.
just a sweatshirt.
That's crazy.
And just running in to
Jesus.
get coffee or whatever. Like not giving a fuck.
That's wild.
Not
yeah,
for me.
like staying at a hotel, I was like trying to go out and smoke, and I'm like, well, this just isn't even worth it. So I'm
No.
in the bathroom of this hotel, blowing smoke up the vent,
like you're back in high school.
yeah, spraying deodorant. And shit. Like I had to put this on the company card. I hope that I do not get caught doing this. But I'm not going out there.
Oh my god.
At
Yeah.
some point, it's just not worth it.
No, fuck
Yeah.
I'm
that.
like, I'll just not buy some patches or something to make it through the night. And
Man,
smoke
you're-
when I have to leave.
Your dogs too. I can imagine having dogs up there. Your dogs be like, "Fuck it."
Those two nuts, they loved it. They love the snow. Like if it snows around here, they go crazy. They're like, fuck yeah.
What kind of dogs are they?
I've got one she's an Akita
Mm.
Husky or
Mhm,
something
mhm.
mix. So she's pretty used to the
Yeah.
kind of built for that kind of weather.
Big
you know?
fluffy dogs.
Yeah, and then we've got Black Lab that's probably mixed with something.
Mhm.
There's kind of a couple mutts. But they both came from Alaska. Those are Alaskan dogs.
Damn.
They live down here with us now. I don't know how they can make it in the summers, though, man. Especially that black one. Just loves to sit out in the sun.
Versatile.
Whatever.
Yeah.
You can come in.
Whatever,
Oh,
weirdo.
I'm good. I'll just
Yeah.
lay here in the sun.
Randy Travis Jr.'s like that.
Just lays there.
Yeah.
Soaks it up. They love it.
Yeah.
But they love the snow, too, man. They go out and bite at it and just go crazy, you know? And then, you know, we go back in the house and they come out and it's done and there's none on the ground. And they're just kind of like, well, that's fucked.
Yeah.
Where's the rest of
This
it?
fucking sucks.
That Black Lab, man, she loves it. She'd go outside and we had a laser pointer that would shine, and
Yeah.
she would chase that fucking thing. We'd have to watch her because her feet would freeze and like
Oh,
start trying
God.
to bleed. She'd rub them raw and just wanted to run. in
Didn't
the
give a
snow.
fuck,
Yeah.
huh?
Didn't care. Feet were so
Jesus.
numb. So then we tried to get her some those little boots, you know, you put on them for walking in the snow or
Yeah.
on the heat, and that didn't work out. She didn't like that at all.
Mm.
So she was like, no. Do it the old-fashioned way. I'm a dog.
Yes,
That Frenchie I've got, Red.
Mm-hmm.
He's got little socks he has to wear. He's like allergic to everything.
Oh man.
Really?
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, so he's got those little sock booty things.
Yeah.
And that dude. He's so weird. He's
He-
down for any of that.
Yeah,
like
he's
like
already
good.
fucking stupid looking anyways, man. So with the booties on,
they look like blue. They look like little blue Adidas like socks. Like
Nice.
he's got that gold chain. I keep threatening to get
Yeah.
him like a tracksuit.
yeah, man, that dog's fucking saucy.
Give him
Yeah.
a little Slav outfit.
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
That's sick.
That'd be nice.
That's
My
gotta do-
dogs-
you
my
gotta do a
dogs
photo
would
shoot.
not have that.
No, they're not down.
No, my wife puts sweaters on them, and they hate that. I think they do. Or they just eventually get indifferent to it, I guess. Like, well, it's that
This is
time
my
of year
life
for
Sure.
now.
sweaters.
Yeah. God damn it! Here we go.
Yeah. No, we bought the heavy duty ice booties for that when they're like neoprene and like Gore-Tex, like it's more expensive than any shoes I have.
Yeah, right. Jeez.
But yeah, and then she just wouldn't wear them. You know, they do that silly walk where they're getting their hands up over their
Yeah.
head and trying to shake them off. Get
That's
outside
funny.
and like they all four of
That
them are
always cracks me up.
falling off in the snow. I'm like, well, those were expensive. Now I have no idea where they are.
yeah, missing.
Hopefully, yeah, I'll find them when it thaws out in
Yeah.
the spring before I mow. Hopefully,
Ugh.
that's the shitty thing up there. Is like down here you mow and you've got that season where you have to mow, and up there, the mowing runs right into shoveling the driveway or like
Oh, so
the
it's
big snow blower.
Yeah.
always something.
Yeah, always something, man. That's the only shitty thing. Like, you don't get a break.
I think that's one of the reasons I could never do like a place where it gets real cold, like shoveling driveways and
Yeah,
like
it sucks, man. Especially like, it's like, oh, we're gonna get like 2 feet of snow tonight. It's like you
Yeah.
have to keep it scraped off as it's coming down, so you'll like be out there like shoveling off 3 or 4 inches of snow and then going in and letting 3 or 4 more inches pile up. Otherwise, you've got 2 feet to shovel to get out in the morning.
yeah.
What's driving like whenever weather's like that? Like, is there a lot of crashes, or is it people are just used to it?
The first snow, there'll be a lot of crashes.
Mhm.
And then after that, everybody's like, oh, okay, I remember. We did this for 9 months last year. So I should have remembered that.
They keep all those roads and stuff salted and shit.
Yeah, they don't use salt up there because, like I said, there's like snow on the ground a lot of the time from like the end of October up until like March, sometimes into April, depending. And so it'd be too much salt running vehicles and stuff. So they gravel. They've got a big fleet of trucks, scrapers,
Sheesh.
tractors that come
That's-
around and
That's
scrape
gnarly.
every night.
That's
yeah.
way better.
Mhm.
All those places in the Northeast, you see, they do the salt, but now
Yeah.
they keep it. They like mix it with water, so it's just like a spray,
Yeah.
and that every vehicle up there is just fucked.
Yeah.
Really? What does it do to cars?
That salt and water
Like,
like eats away and
corrodes
rusts up
the
your
metal.
Oh, really?
undercarriage,
Yeah.
Oh shit, I didn't know that.
and your car's just running over. It's just splashing
It's-
it upon
yeah.
there.
Yeah. Yeah, I had a friend up there that they used to use salt back in the day, and she had an old Volkswagen Rabbit,
Mhm.
and there was some holes in the floorboard.
Yeah.
Like you could see the ground, you know, like
Yeah,
there were a few times we had to get that adjusted for. I remember she was like, I think it's about to fall out
yeah,
because of the salt. and shit.
Damn,
It
that's
just
crazy.
tied
I had
it,
no
yeah.
clue.
yeah. Your floor pans, it'll eat your frame if you
Yeah.
let it.
God.
There's like anyone who like has spent money on their vehicle,
Mhm.
they always get the
The
undercarriage
treatment,
sprayed.
yeah,
Basically just another coat of paint, all
Mhm.
just along the bottom side to
Yeah.
help keep that. But
keep
you
it
have to
off.
do that like every year or
Yeah.
two, just because it's
Damn.
so bad.
They keep the roads pretty good. The worst thing, they'd like come and do your street, and they just do the street, and then they've got this weird little cart. It's like that's for the sidewalks. So there'll be a dude in a little cart, and it's got like these little brushes, like the street sweepers, the trash, but it'll be one big one. It's like massive right in the front, just eating that snow and spraying it off to the side.
Yeah.
Oh shit.
And so those weren't always on the same schedule. So like they might come and do the street, and you'll come out the next morning and there's like a 2-foot snow and ice and gravel berm that you
Mhm.
like can't get your car over.
Ah
So
shit.
then you have to come out there with the shovel and chip it off. But
Ugh.
then spring is the worst because it all starts like melting, and you know it doesn't melt evenly, and at this point you're driving on like 6 inches to a foot of compacted ice and snow,
Mm.
Oh,
and there'll be
God.
fucking holes in parking lots like the supermarket and shit, like as big as this fucking room that's like 6 or 9 inches deep, and it's just full of water and slush. And it's
Oh,
just
Jesus.
oddly shaped, and you can't
No.
get around it.
No.
And it's just like, and it's kind of like that everywhere. The streets aren't as bad, but like parking lots get pretty bad.
Yeah, I think I'm good on that.
And then they have to have like certain places because you have to have somewhere to put all this.
Mm-hmm.
So they'll just scrape it, and they make big rows of snow right down the road. So each lane, there'll be a lane and then a mound of snow all the way down the road, and then the lane and a mound of snow. And they scrape it into these little piles, and then another truck comes along and like sucks it up and blows it into a dump truck. And there'll be like 4 of those offset in the lanes. So there'll be one, and then another one, and then another one, and it's just scraping up the snow. And then there's like big, just like lots where they go and just dump all that shit. In the corners of parking lots, there'll be a fucking mound of snow, like fucking 15, 20 feet tall, where they've just kind of pushed it over out of that parking lot and dumped it there.
Jesus.
We found this really sweet spot next to, it was in between a Walmart and a Fred Meyer. It was a big empty lot, and they had been dumping snow there. So it was kind of this ring of giant snow mounds. And once you pulled in there and got in there, nobody could see you from the road. So we got in there in the Tahoe, and we were fucking doing donuts and shit. Like, just fucking ripping it up in there like crazy. Like, man, this is fun. Yeah, it's a lot of fun. And then it thawed out, and we looked, and that was like a big-ass, like, gravel and rock lot, like, that we're just tearing ass on top of. And then there's, like, a few weeks go by or whatever, and we pick up my kids from their mom's house, or we had them for the weekend. We were taking them back. We were going out to eat dinner. We picked up my wife from work. We're about to go eat dinner, and we're going to take the kids and drop them off. And we're driving down the road, and this road's this big curve, and it turns into a different road. And we're driving. We get around the big curve, and I'm in, like, there's, like, a turning lane. We're coming up to a stoplight. There's a right turn lane for just that road. There's the straight lane, and then the left turning lane. And then the exact same thing on the other side of the median. It was like a little concrete encased little grass hill for the median. And we're driving along, and all of a sudden I feel kunk, and I was like, what the fuck's going on? And then slam down into the ground, and I see the fucking front driver's side tire of my Tahoe come up past my window like this and hits and goes across all that traffic all the way to the opposite side of the street.
What?
And we're fucking scraping through the intersection, man.
my
Thank God the fucking light was green, because I couldn't do shit. I just had my hands on the wheel and was like, okay, here we go. And my littlest one, I think she was probably 2 or something at the time, got her arms up. She's going, yeah. There's like probably sparks, dude. Like, I get down and like where the rotor and shit is, and then there's that big ass fucking bolt. It's like 2 inches by like 1.5 inches, completely ground flat. And it just, I don't know if we fucked it up doing donuts and then just like never really fucked with it again, or if it was just like some catastrophic failure of the lug sides or what. But it just ripped the lug nuts right off. No prior indication. No prior indication that anything was wrong with that truck. Was driving great. And then all of a sudden just the whole fucking wheel, not just the tire, the rim, everything was off.
Just taking a ride.
It just took off across, like, seriously, it's like 8 lanes of traffic, and just up and hits the snow berm and just lands up there. So I call the tow truck, and he's like, ugh.
Yeah.
What the fuck, man?
That's appropriate.
Yeah. He's like, well, here, I'm going to lift it up. Let's see if we can get your tire on, and that'll save you money. And those lug nuts were so bent, I couldn't get it on. I only had, like, 2 extra ones. Like, the lugs were off. I don't know what happened, man.
I have nightmares about that.
Yeah, dude,
like,
that shit's terrifying.
Now, every time my fucking car makes a noise, I'm like, the goddamn wheel's going to fly off. I'm going to be fucked again.
Yeah.
You know?
Some PTSD.
Yeah. It's, like, scary.
Back in the day, like, when I had so many vehicles, and all I could buy was just shit, because it's all I could afford.
Yeah.
Just got a bunch of shit vehicles all the time. And anything that I would, like, any maintenance needed to be done, I couldn't afford to take it somewhere, so I would do it.
Exactly.
Anytime I had a tire off, I was like, oh my God, I'm going to put this back on, and I'm going to fuck it up, and it's going to fly off while I'm going down the road.
I've been there, man. I had a lot of shitty vehicles.
Man, just yesterday, I was helping my friend's mom move, and I was driving to, like, North Little Rock. And so one of my tires, it's pretty bald, like so bald that you could kind of see the wires, like the metal coming out of it. And my dad was like, it was just like last week, I guess. He was like, go by the house and pick up your spare. So, just in case it fucks up, you'll have a spare with you. I'm like, all right. Driving back to Conway, totally forgot to go pick up the spare, but whatever. And so yesterday, I was driving to North Little Rock. I had like 2 TVs in my car or whatever to help move. And I feel my car just start going like on the interstate. And I'm like, this is pretty fucking bad, whatever it is. Because I thought at first it was my like transmission or my motor or something, because my car kind of has those problems every now and then where it'll either get like stuck in a gear and won't go or whatever. And so I go, I pull over on the side of the road, throw my hazards, whatever. And I go and I look under my hood, and nothing smells, nothing's crazy. I'm like, okay, maybe it's not. And I noticed my tire, the one that was like bald, was fucking shredded. Like the entire thing. Here, I got a picture, I think, still.
That happened to me. I had a
It
Honda
was,
Civic and was going from Little Rock back up to my mom's house in Heber.
Mm-hmm.
And we're driving down the interstate, and we're right there somewhere, probably, I think we were in between maybe like Jacksonville and Cabot,
Mm-hmm.
or just before Jacksonville. And something slammed into the side of the car.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, what the fuck? So I pull over, and I'm walking kind of back down the road, the interstate, looking, and there's like fucking chunks of tire, and I'm like, something must just bounced up or like got flung out of somebody's tire. And I look, and there's my fucking rear view mirror. I was like, what the fuck? I didn't
Wait,
even
what?
notice this, but it was like a real distinct color on this car, and I was like, that is definitely my mirror. So I pick it up and I walk back down to the car, and I was like, sure as shit, there's no fucking rear view mirror on the passenger side
Shit.
anymore. And I'm like, what the hell? I'm looking at the tire, and it looks fine, everything looks fine, and then I like get down to look, because it's like that real tight wheel well and everything.
Mm-hmm.
The whole belt of the tire is fucking gone.
Damn.
But somehow it is still inflated, and from the outside it looks fine. So I'm
my
glad
God.
I checked, because that would have been fucked if I would have driven on that. I threw
Yeah.
the spare on it.
That would have been real bad.
Yeah.
But my own tire blew out, and the fucking belt came up and ripped the mirror off the side of the car.
I've heard of them doing that and like denting up like fenders,
That,
shit
well, you
like
see
that.
all the
Well, yeah.
time, driving, and those big rigs will like fucking blow a
Yeah.
tire, and it's just like the whole
Yeah.
fucking tire.
There was one time my dad was driving back from Hot Springs, and one of the fucking tire just came off a big rig, and like we saw it hit this other car, and it fucking sparked. Like
Yeah.
it hit the car, and something sparked on it, and it had to like pull over. It was fucked.
Jesus.
We ran over it, but our car was fine.
My mom was in Conway years ago, and what's that fucking restaurant right by where you get on the interstate? Like Marketplace or something like
The
that.
one on the
right
hill?
there. Yeah,
Yeah,
the one
yeah,
up on the hill. I think that's where they were. And they were sitting right on the outside wall at a window eating, her and her friend, and a fucking tire flew off a big rig coming across that exit. It flew
Jesus.
through the window where they were sitting.
Oh my god!
And they like
dude.
made them go to the
Fuck.
hospital and like get checked out, and they were like, please, don't sue us or whatever. I'm sure, but they like made them go. And
Holy shit.
I was
That's
living in
crazy,
Alaska when that happened, so I don't really know the whole story. It was just like bits and pieces on the phone.
That's
Shit.
fucking crazy.
I was like,
Yeah, no thanks.
that's
Man.
fucked up.
Yeah. Mm.
there was one time I bought a like a little shitty Nissan Altima, I think it was.
Mhm.
It was like right out of high school. And I took it to get an oil change one day. And then went back and picked it up, and then started driving back home, and I was maybe 4 miles away,
Mhm.
and all of a sudden everything just shut the fuck down.
Yep.
They didn't put the plug back in,
Yeah.
and then so there was no oil in the vehicle.
Fuck,
Locked
dude.
everythed up.
Yeah.
That happened to me.
Totaled
in that
that ride.
Tahoe. Man, I loved that fucking Tahoe, but goddamn, I don't know how many times I had to put that thing in the shop for
Mhm.
stupid shit, wheels
Mhm.
flying off. But the plug, it just didn't get put in good, and it rattled out like a few days later. And I noticed I was driving, and all of a sudden the oil pressure gauge just went down to 0.
Mhm.
And luckily I was able to limp it home.
I
And
had
it didn't
something
lock
similar
up
to
on
that.
me.
Yeah, you're lucky it didn't lock up.
I had something similar to that, like in high school. I was at a basketball game, and so I was driving back, and all of a sudden, while I was driving, my like power steering went out. I was like, "That's not good at all." So I'm trucking it home. I'm like, maybe it's just the power steering. No, sure enough, my temperature is going through the fucking roof, and I'm like, "Oh god, this is fucking bad." And I still had like, I don't know, maybe like 10 minutes to get home. And I was like, you know what? I'm dedicated. I'm getting there. If this thing fucking explodes, hey, at least I tried.
Get as close as you can. Maybe you have to walk less.
Sure enough. Yeah.
We've had to do that before, man.
And,
I've had such bad luck with
yeah.
vehicles, but I was with a buddy, and his locked up. We were like leaving the gas station parking lot, and it just like total systems failure. The brakes
Yeah.
wouldn't work, the wheel wouldn't turn,
Oh
nothing.
my god.
And we had to just like back straight in and walk
Yeah.
like 3 miles
Damn.
back to my house just so we could get to a phone.
Yeah. Sure enough, what had happened was my serpentine belt just fucking pop.
That's what
Gone.
happened to his.
Mm-hmm.
One of the belts flew off
And
and
it
it
was
just fucked
smoking when I got
did it.
home. It was fucked. Dude.
I had a steering box go out one time.
Mhm.
Yeah, I've had all kinds of shit like
it up.
that.
Yeah.
It's the worst.
One of my cars, it was like an 86 Chevy Cavalier or something
Mhm.
like that. And I don't even remember where I got it. But I hadn't had it that long, and my dad had to like take it into the shop, or Tate was moving it, something, but he got in it and drove it. I think I was probably like 17 maybe at the time. And he got out and he was like, "That thing's a fucking death trap." He was like, I don't know where you got this, but you should like take it
Take
back.
it
It was a
back.
piece of shit. I will never get in that car again.
Yeah.
Good luck.
Yeah.
Oh, thanks, man.
Yeah.
I'm thrilled about that.
Yeah, it's the worst when your car just starts fucking up and everything's flashing at you, and it's like, dude,
Yep.
please spare me.
It'll teach you how to work on a car though.
For sure, yeah. I learned how to change a
Yeah.
serpentine belt. Yeah. I had to do it one more time after that too.
Yeah.
Yeah, it'll teach you some
Yeah,
things.
Shit.
I can do quite a bit on a car now.
Mhm.
Yeah,
YouTube,
Yeah,
man.
you
Yeah.
learn or you walk. Right?
Yeah.
YouTube is the biggest fucking help for any kind of shit like
That's
that.
for sure, man.
Mhm.
That's that's
Just
for anything.
Mhm.
Everything like that, man. Just in general, dude.
Mhm.
Like and people bitch about it a lot, but like this whole war between the millennials and the boomers that's going on right now, you know, and
Yeah.
it's just kind of like, well,
That shit
whatever. I
cracks
get
me
it.
up,
Like,
man.
I don't know. I'm right at the end of Gen X, so
Mhm.
I'm kind of indifferent. I remember growing up without all that shit, but it's
Mhm.
really cool now that we have it. Like my kids and shit. will
Yeah.
never know what it's like to not have the
Yeah.
internet and cell phone and shit. But like we were talking about earlier, you know where the fuck you were going, you just went.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Your fucking car broke down?
Mm,
Start
good
walking,
luck.
bud.
Yeah.
You better walk. Hopefully you know
Uh-huh.
somebody close.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Find somebody with a
You
phone.
know, yeah.
I'm very happy that I was not born into an era where I didn't have a cell phone if I was fucked up.
Yeah.
Like, you know.
It's a lot different, man, but I don't know. I think it's better in a lot of ways just to be able to have that access.
Yeah,
Like,
I think so too. But I mean, I haven't experienced
It's
what it's
yeah,
like without it.
it's-
So
it's definitely
different.
better
Mhm.
because you have so much more options.
access
Yeah.
to everything, you know.
Yeah, and up until it'll continue to be great. I think up until the point where they just start to rule us.
Yeah.
Shit.
they
Fuck,
they
man,
just
that's
become
like
the
we're
the
getting
boss.
into robot ruling now.
I
Huh?
watched
Yeah.
this movie just last night, Upgrade. Have you seen that? You should check that movie out.
Upgrade.
Yeah.
Who's in that?
I don't know any of the people that were in it. It's kind of like an indie film, I guess. But it's this dude. He gets this chip implanted in him when he has an accident,
Mhm.
and he goes on this insane quest for revenge.
Wow.
Interesting.
Yeah,
Huh.
you should see if you pull the trailer up
What's
to
it
that,
called?
man. Upgrade.
Is it newer?
It's pretty new. I think it was on HBO or Amazon that we watched it
This
last
one
night.
here.
Yeah, that's the one.
Okay. Yeah, I can't show the trailer on
Yeah,
video.
But,
But,
you guys should check that
You
out.
can
later.
you can play it for us.
yeah, go ahead. I got you.
You gotta watch this movie. That's
Probably can't do audio though.
Yeah, just keep the audio down.
That's
Let me
that's
see if I
exactly
can-
what it's.
Please tell me it's muted. Okay.
We'll figure out what's.
There's a man.
Oh, that's
God.
the accident.
Turning him into a car.
No, that car's intense.
Yeah,
oh,
that's-
dude, that shit's
That looks
dope.
like the. That kind of looks like the
Yeah,
new
it-
Tesla
it-
truck.
It's set in the future, so there's a lot of like tech shit involved,
Yeah.
and this is kind of like a tale of when tech goes bad.
Mm-hmm. Did you guys see that the Tesla truck demo? Where like he
I
was
saw the
trying
windows
to,
get
yeah,
broken.
he was trying to like show off how Elon Musk was like, these windows are bulletproof, impenetrable glass, and then he throws like a rock or some shit at
dude
it,
threw
like
a rock right
not
through
even
it.
that hard, and it just,
It cracked, but it didn't break.
it didn't go through.
Yeah.
It did not go through. I just wonder how much more it would take, to go through it.
I think a bullet definitely would have went through.
if
I
he's
would
got
say
a
it was
rock and he
bulletproof,
barely
yeah.
threw that shit, yeah, I think a bullet's going through it.
Maybe I've seen times where like a 9mm will bounce off of like windshields.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Just because of the angle.
There's
angle.
have you seen the video of that guy like trying to break a car window and
With
he
the
had
hammer?
a hammer and he's
Yeah.
just
Yeah.
It was like a
banging this
news
shit.
reporter.
Yeah,
Yeah.
nothing.
We used to go shoot guns in Alaska. It was this place north of there called Houston.
Mm-hmm.
It's just this little town. And there was this big field, and there'd be like 2 or 3 feet of snow, but you'd be shooting kind of downhill. And every once in a while, if you were a little low, the bullet would stop on top of the snow. It would slide
really?
on the snow. It was so cold that it would just stop, and you could go down there and just pick it up.
Wow.
And just
Damn.
the projectile right out of the casing. It was weird.
That's
That's
crazy.
that's
Yeah.
wild. Wow.
I
You'd
never
see
thought
little
about
grooves,
that.
and it would. I don't know if it's the heat, super heated and super cold like that, but I mean it'd be like -20,
Damn.
-25.
See, I would have thought if it was like super hot and it was introduced to that cold, then it would just pop. You know?
Yeah.
But
Every once in a while, man, if you got a shot too low, and if it got right even with the snow, it would just stop
Wow.
halfway between you and the target, and you could walk down there and pick the round up.
That's cold. You know it's cold when
It
you're
was
stopping
nuts.
bullets.
Yeah.
There was another video I saw. They were shooting at a frozen lake, and they could shoot it at a certain angle, and it would hit, and the bullet would just spin
I've seen that.
right on the ice.
Mhm.
So I guess it's probably the same principle.
Yeah, it's
somehow.
I don't remember the name of the. I saw something about something like that, and it's since the bullet is so hot, every time it touches the ice, it evaporates it.
Right,
And so it
it's-
makes it constantly move because there's so much gases that are circulating in that
Right.
little hole.
Yeah,
That makes
that
sense.
makes
Mhm.
sense. Yeah, just
And plus, it's spinning a lot too because of the barrel.
right.
Hmm.
It's pretty nuts.
Yeah. Science, man. Science is crazy.
It
Is
is pretty crazy.
it's nuts. But yeah, man, you guys gotta check that movie out.
Yeah, it looks
Upgrade.
cool.
Yeah, I'll have to
Yeah.
check that out.
There were bits and pieces of it that were kind of like, this is cheesy as fuck, but it's a pretty good movie.
Mhm.
I think like a futuristic movie like that. I think you're gonna have cheese in it no matter
Yeah,
what.
yeah,
Yeah.
for sure.
Especially
This
looking
was
at it
more
from
like-
our
yeah,
like more primitive perspective
right,
Mhm.
right.
or
This
less
was
technological.
more some of the actors.
Oh, okay.
You know what I mean?
Yeah,
It's
yeah,
kind of
yeah.
like, oh, this guy's really selling it, man.
I gotcha.
Yeah.
You know? But it was a good movie, but it's right in line with that. When tech gets a little bit too
Too techie.
techy, yeah.
I watched for the first time, like it's been a little while now, like a month or so, but god damn it, I just lost the fucking name of the movie I was thinking of. The movie about the robots, god damn it, motherfuck.
The movie about the robots. Terminator. RoboCop.
iRobot.
No.
Movies about
No,
robots.
Will Smith. It's not an action movie.
Blade Runner.
No, close. We're getting in that. It's
Let's see.
Ex Machina. That's
Oh,
it.
okay.
Oh yeah,
Got
that's
you.
good.
Ex Machina.
That's good.
I always got it confused with that other robot movie with Scarlett Johansson in it. You know which
What
one
was
I'm
that
talking
called?
about?
Yeah,
That one's
I've seen it.
I can't remember what that one's called either, but I always got that movie confused.
Ghost in the Shell.
Yes, that's
Mhm.
what I
Okay.
thought Ex Machina was. So when people would talk about it and they were like, "It's such a great movie," I'm like, "It's not that great of a movie. Like it's
Yeah,
okay.
yeah.
There's some action in it, but
Mhm.
Yeah.
what the fuck are you guys talking about?"
I haven't seen either one of them.
But I finally watched Ex Machina, and I was like, "Oh my god,
Yeah.
some fucking wild ass shit."
Mm.
This is it's similar to that.
Yeah,
Upgrade similar. It's almost kind of like in ways, like the way it kind of gets going. It's like The Crow,
okay,
but in the future.
okay.
So this guy gets injured, his wife gets killed, and he's out for revenge.
nice.
Okay.
But he has to get an implant to do it because he's quadriplegic. So
Mhm.
he gets this implant and he goes on a rampage.
Okay.
So, but then it gets kind of fucky at the end.
Kind of fucky.
It gets a little fucky
It's a
there.
little bit of
towards the
fucky.
back end. There's a little fuckiness going on.
Little
But
bit
it's
of
it was a good film. I haven't seen that Ghost in the Shell either. I saw
it's
the anime back in the day. It was an anime
mhm.
back
Yeah.
in the day.
that's better
Yes.
than this.
Yeah.
The
So
movie-
I saw that, but
yeah, the
I
movie-
haven't seen this yet.
Movie. I mean, it's okay. It's a fine movie, but
Yeah.
like
Yeah, I've heard a lot of those anime movies that get converted into like real
Like
people
live
kind of deals.
action, yeah.
Most of the time does not end well. Like
yeah.
Death Note, Dragon Ball Evolution, I heard was a fucking
I never watched that Death
awful.
Note movie either. I
Me
watched
either.
a little bit of the series.
Mhm.
I don't even know what that one is. What is?
It's
Death Note?
they got a book,
Yeah.
and if you write someone's name down in it, they die. I don't know.
And it's
I
like
haven't
this-
seen it, but
fucking demon man
Mhm.
that comes and talks to this boy that has found the book or something.
Yeah.
It's weird.
as I'm a Dragon Ball fan, and people like whenever Dragon Ball Evolution came out, people
Yeah,
like
I guess it was
wanted
pretty bad.
these creators of the movie to fucking die because apparently it was so bad.
So bad. Then I feel like the same guy that did that Dragon Ball movie, isn't he the guy that did Shaolin Soccer and what was the other one? Kung Fu Hustle. You ever
I
see
don't know.
those two?
I haven't seen
I've
them.
seen Kung Fu Hustle.
He did Shaolin Soccer
Jeez.
too. That was pretty
James
good.
Wong.
I don't know what that one is.
It got a 15 on Rotten Tomatoes,
Oof.
2.5 out of 10 IMDb. Let's see what else James Wong has made.
It made money.
It made money. Did do that.
I think a lot of people regretted giving it money.
Yeah.
Is what happened.
Dragon Ball
You will
Evolution,
have
Black
that.
Christmas, Final Destination 3, Final Destination,
Willard.
Moon
Willard
Warriors.
You ever
is-
seen Willard?
I've never seen the whole thing.
It's fucking weird, man.
That
dude is weird as shit. Crispin Glover.
Crispin Glover's a strange cat. Yeah.
He's
So isn't like he's like the rat man basically in that movie, right?
like he's got a pet rat or something.
Yeah.
Does his dirty work or something for him.
Yeah, apparently he made the Final Destination movies and the Notorious 7, 1997. I don't know. A lot of strange looking ones.
That guy, I don't remember. I think it's maybe Stephen Chow or something like that. The guy that was in Shaolin Soccer and Kung Fu Hustle. He made those movies, and then he was in or made another movie that was like an anime or something like that. And it did not do well. And I've never seen that dude make another movie since, but I really haven't been looking. But I like that Shaolin Soccer movie. That shit's funny.
I haven't seen it.
It's pretty good. I love Kung Fu movies, though, man.
Yeah.
So
I've never watched it. Oh well, I've seen what's the fucking one with I don't remember. Bruce Leroy.
The Last Dragon.
Yes,
yeah,
The
that
Last
movie's
Dragon.
good.
I did like The Last
That's
Dragon.
a good movie. You seen that one?
Yeah, I've seen The Last
That
Dragon.
one's
Last
legit.
Dragon's pretty
yeah,
good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
Well,
like you
yeah.
get on Amazon though, man. Amazon Video, and they've got all those old ass
Really?
zero budget kung fu movies
yeah.
and shit that are like not dubbed, not in English. There's no subtitles, and that's what I'll put on to go to sleep at night. Like
Really?
I have to have noise on, so I'll just
Yeah.
throw something like that on, and like sometimes I get real into it, and I'm up way later than I should be, and sometimes I'm asleep in like less than 10 minutes.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
yeah.
All right. Well, y'all, we're hitting about 2 hours here. It's been a very fun one. Very nice.
Definitely, man. Thanks for having me on.
Yeah, of course,
Yeah.
man. Thank
Yeah,
you
thanks
for
for
coming.
coming.
Of course. If you want to hear more from us, sameolddevils.com. That's sameolddevils.com. You can find our podcast, our YouTube, our contact info, hello at sameolddevils.com. If you want to buy our shit, sameolddevils.com/shop. We got some cool t-shirts and pins that you can get. Instagram, Same Old Devils. Yeah, I think that's about it. Everybody, we love you. Be safe. Have fun. Bye-bye.
See ya.